Good afternoon. I'm broadcasting live from my desktop. So, no music right now, I just want to chill. I think I'm gonna work on adding some more of these blueprint buildings from the medieval village. Let's see, I didn't quite finish. I stopped that wagon. Throw a wagon wheel in there. Happy little wagon wheels. Wagon wheel. Wagon wheel. So the H is with the wagon. You see what I did there? But first, let us move it. Then we build. Got some fuzz on the mic there. So, static mesh. Well, I gotta figure out what to do about the giant freaking meshes. Maybe that's something worth doing. Hey man, chilling. I was thinking of having some music. Actually, now I feel like I want the music on. Let me see about doing some coding here. So when I'm building and it's a really large object, it's like twirling around at a really large offset. So let's see, where's the create? Here it is. So this is all stretched out, doesn't need to be. Alright, connector, no collision. Get its build offset rotation. Get set it to be ghost. Get static mesh, do the material thing. Visibility is ghost spawned. Then we do the switches on control. So it's at this offset place. Build item offset. Build item offset is 250. That must be, yeah, that's getting changed by the mouse wheel. Right, that's not it actually. So we're gonna go with not holding down shift. Relative location. What's this? Static mesh relative location. Target relative location of the mesh. I just don't think it's gonna line up then anymore because this Wait, this is for the ghost item. No, okay, that is the relative location. Maybe I can take that out. So reset building transform. Wait a second. Crouch held down, false. Select a rotation, select building, transform. Relative scale 3D, relative location. Maybe I should just take that out. Let's see how it works. This will take a minute to load up. First time loading up for this session. La la la. Fascinating stuff, I know. There we go. Oh, it's printing out the horse thing. I gotta tell it to stop doing that. Right, building. I always just get distracted and start running on the horse. Oh, cool. I think that just straight up fixed it in one click. One checkbox. I guess I had it there because I thought it would make sense. Let's just see. Yeah, it looks like it's equidistant now. Remember what I was doing before where it would be like really far away and then not? Just like free place. Okay, it works. It's all good there. So I fixed that. Yay, that was easy. Woohoo. Back to adding buildings. Okay, now I will put on some music. Put that back up. Kind of maybe just watch some news or something. Maybe I'll just educate some people. I can do that, can I? I didn't watch him do the be best thing today. Jeffrey Wright. Oh. That guy. I haven't even... I watched the second episode of Westworld and was just like, what? Why do we watch this? Let's watch this. Just have it on the background.
Thank you.
Why
Let me
not?
start out by saying never buy a new computer 1 week before GDC because you don't know how to work it. So the first thing is, those of you who know me know that 25 minutes is like ridiculous. And I'm going to rip through this, and if I don't get through it all, I'll just finish it out there and do a poster session or something. So we'll see how far we get. So what I want to talk about today is what we can learn from other narrative media. That's not anything so unusual just by itself. Plenty of people have talked about that, but I hope I can surprise you people.
I have a feeling I'm going to be really bored by this talk. I'm sorry. I might peanut gallery it.
There are things we could learn that we haven't yet learned. But most important,
Speaking of Westworld. Dude, the first season is so immersive, and by the end it gets to the point where you're just like, okay. And now this new season I'm just like, Arnold Schwarzenegger, where are you? I miss your subtleties and... you know? It's like, stick around.
You shouldn't make games like X, Y, and Z. Or you should make games like A, B, and C.
Alright, let's do the next.
In those cases, just assume I'm exaggerating to make a point or a really bad joke.
Wheel post.
It's not my place to tell people what kinds of games to make.
It's a freaking wheel post. Everyone's gonna be building wheel posts. It's the latest thing.
Now, why is it important not to be too judgmental? It's important because imitating other media...
I already created wheel post, apparently.
It seems to be a natural, even maybe necessary stage in every new medium's development. Building on a foundation provided by...
I did wheel post, but I didn't do whack and wheel.
Is pretty normal and natural. So I want to talk about how...
Oh, I did the wicker basket, wood fence, wood pilot. Did I do wood steps?
Emulating theater, of course.
Wheel post, wicker basket.
An early Edison film.
Okay, I didn't do wood fence.
John Irwin and Mae Rice, reenacting something from their show, which was quite the scandal at the time. Even as late as 1912, a lot of filmmakers were still stuck in that. Let's put the camera in the middle of the orchestra and just leave it there, because obviously that's what movies are all about. This is Sarah Bernhardt and Queen Elizabeth, by the way. It took a fair amount of time, a decade, even more than a decade, after the creation of the earliest film, before cinematic storytelling, as we know it today, came into sort of widespread use. The techniques of cinematic storytelling.
That should work out.
Radio as well. Radio borrowed plenty in terms of bringing people from movies into radio. And bringing radio stars into film. This is the Jack Benny show.
And I was just thinking, I don't know why I come out here every show and I keep saying thank you, thank you, thank you. I mean, look, what I'm thanking you for, you get in here for nothing.
So, and this is...
wood pile. Everyone wants to build a wood pile. Edit it first.
Movie version 1957. You can see the similarities, I hope. And given that I have 25 minutes, I'm going to stop here. Okay, so this has been going on for a while. Every medium does it. Maybe, we should too. But what about games? What does any of this have to do with game narrative? Now, this is a long quote. I hate doing that, but this is a pretty swell book, first person. And the important part of this is video games include more of the building blocks of storytelling than any single medium has ever offered us. How could we not tell stories? And I totally get confused when people say, "Oh, games shouldn't tell stories." It's crazy. I find that silly and amusing. But the seemingly simple statement that we can tell stories because we combine all of these other media characteristics got me thinking: is that all we are? Now, no medium has survived without changing and growing beyond its borrowed roots. And if we're nothing more than an amalgam of conventions borrowed from other media, we're in a world of trouble. And is interactivity then the one thing we offer? I mean, that's an abused word, almost as abused as transmedia. Not quite, but almost. Is that the only unique feature we have to offer? Are we just plus interactivity? Now, clearly, we can be movies with interactivity. And just before anybody gives me a hard time, these are my two favorite experiences of the last year. I came to Heavy Rain really late. But I think we can do much more than even these games are doing. What we have to do is understand how other media make meaning and adopt the conventions that work for us, but know enough about them to jettison the conventions and techniques that work against us. The key for me is to do this consciously, to understand why we borrow something and when we borrow something. And so I want to run through that very quickly today. I'm going to talk mostly about movies and then go into some other media even more quickly. The similarities between movies and video games, as indicated by those, my two favorite gaming experiences of the last year or so. It seems so obvious. You're probably wondering why we should bother talking about it at all. We both, hey, they have moving images. We have moving images. They're projected or reflected on a screen. We both have color and synchronous sound. We both sort of create a convincing illusion of life. Formally, we share a lot of characteristics, obviously, movies and games. But they're the medium of the 20th century. And I can't even remember what I meant by united in real time. That's pretty cool. Okay. Anyway, I'm moving right along here. I think what you can see is, culturally speaking, we share a lot with movies as well, not just formally. The movies were the medium of the 20th century that changed everything. It was the first time that everybody in the world basically could experience the same stories, the same cultural messages at once. Now, clearly, movies and television still fill that niche today, but I think everybody in this room will agree games have overtaken those earlier media with at least a new generation in reflecting and driving cultural norms. So clearly we are borrowing from movies and books and comics and other media. And there are certainly similarities even in team makeup and development methodologies that I was going to talk about.
Cool. Okay, so should I do the docks and that? Oh no, I should do the
There are also
houses.
significant differences.
House
I think
stuff,
we ignore
floors and
those
roofs and stuff.
And
Not the
so,
full houses though.
let's
These should
talk
be
about
really
what those
easy.
differences are. The ways in which filmmakers communicate, like cutting from one image to another, to give the illusion of continuous action, while in fact breaking things down in ways that are more dreamlike than any reflection of the way we experience the real world. And despite the success
That's
of
parts.
cinematic games these days, I think we all know and love cutscenes, don't we? All right, maybe not. I'd argue that even the most fundamental editing techniques, at some point, we're going to go, what were we thinking? They aren't for us. So I think we need to jettison some. See, I told you I was going to start sounding like I don't make games. Okay, so here's an example of cross-cutting or parallel action. I mean, it's as dirt simple as cinematic conventions. The camera's cutting between multiple locations. The audience knows things that the characters don't. It's the quintessential cinematic moment. Will he save the girl or not? Films cut away from action that would reveal the artifice of what's going on in a scene. I was working with one director who I can't name out in LA on a project that involved some fairly horrific scenes. And in the film version, the plan was going to be okay, this was obviously not a Saw film or something, but we were going to cut away from the really horrendous stuff. But in the game, we had to figure out how to make that same stuff and even Mickey Mouse instead. And we had to make it not. I can't believe I just said that. Anyway, the viewers weren't just watching; they were actively engaged in the activity in real time, and not just once, but over and over and over again. That's something I'm going to come back to a lot. This basic cinematic technique is something that everybody expects, everybody understands. It's a great way to invoke a specific emotion in a film. But in contrast, when we're at our best, I think this should be unavailable to us. We should not be doing this. It breaks the illusion of immersion, which is critical, I think, to a game's success. It wrests control away from players who want to be the directors of their own experience.
I can agree with that.
Barring those cinematic films that, again, I love. Please don't put me in a box of, hey, he's the guy who hates cinematic movies. Cinematic films. But in most games,
He has a point, though.
Continuous and contiguous. We either take full control of the camera ourselves, or we leave the player the work of determining where the camera.
Let's see. This one will just be.
Or doesn't, and sometimes we do better with cameras than others, of course, and we're going to move on from there. In a weird sort of way, movies are non-linear, and games are linear in the way they treat time and space. It's an interesting paradox, and one we really need to remember. Now, just to bring that home, if there's a film historian in the crowd, I bet you can guess where I'm going with it. I want to take a look at two movies very quickly that
1000.
that take a very game-like approach, and you'll see how well it works. This is Road, Alfred Hitchcock.
Dangerous in the heat. I don't understand that at all. Exactly 2 years ago this summer, I had one myself. I was down for 3 weeks. The doctors were just about ready.
This way, Mrs. Atwater.
Particularly at parties.
Particularly, this is all way over my head.
David!
Oh, no, this is, you've made a mistake. This is Kenneth Lawrence.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Okay, you see the conceit here, right?
Kenneth is
There we go.
We'll get to this.
Put some halfway points on there then.
In Road, Alfred Hitchcock was trying to make a game in one take, no cut, no editing at all, just like it, and it was a disaster. Okay, it's unwatchable. Similarly, I mean that's a case of borrowing a convention. Well, a convention he didn't even know was going to exist several years later. But now, Lady in the Lake, Robert Montgomery's big directorial debut, and not a very successful one. Let's see if you can guess what game conventions this emulates.
You're a Yankee, you wouldn't understand. I don't think our little scheme is going to work. Pardon me, Mr. Muller, do you have the time?
There we go.
Doesn't your clock work either?
It's probably gonna be like 1200. This is gonna be easy to multiply out. That one's done.
Okay, you get the idea.
12.
Movies live and die on cinematic editing. Go figure. And when they borrow, again, it's kind of a weird reverse borrowing. But filmmakers very quickly figured out that doesn't work. And I think the other direction works as well. We need to figure out what doesn't work. Now there are three other differences that are worth citing here. The way games do their pacing is very different than movies. Games and movies. Right, I got that right. A movie is 90 minutes to 150 minutes, more or less. Games 6 hours to infinite. I remember I had a conversation with yet another filmmaker who I wish I could name actually, but it was really cool, but I probably can't. We talked about his approach to cinematic storytelling, effective storytelling, and he was
By
saying,
12.
let's take our time. Let's have our normal world that the player explores and thinks it's perfect.
That's my game.
And then after half an hour, something strange happens, and you realize that's a pretty standard cinematic technique. A filmmaker can count on an audience understanding how movies work and being willing to cut them the slack to sort of start in a normal world because they know the action.
Yeah, right. Not on the internet technology day.
We don't have that advantage unless you're Hideo Kojima. To get players doing compelling, cool, fun, actiony things in what? 30 seconds? A minute? 5 minutes? Unless it's a free-to-play game, in which case they might play for half an hour. But if you don't get to your verbs quickly and make them really actiony, or at least compelling in some way, your player's going away. Okay. Another thing, in games and movies, there's a different approach to economical storytelling. A screenplay, what is it, 90 pages, 120 pages, a minute per page of screen time. Dialogue that reflects the way people actually talk, short snippets, frequent interruptions, no incredibly long monologues. Now, working with certain game writers who I will not name, I've had to take 50 pages of single-spaced monologue and say, no. We can't adopt novel games for place where I think we can learn something from other media. But
Here's another point there.
this is don't buy a computer a week before. That's a script for a movie on the left, and that is not a game script. But I can tell you for a fact the script for a Deus Ex movie, Deus Ex game is about that tall. Okay, from the not from the ground. I mean, you know, from the podium. So you know, the reason for that is it's not, well, it's often that we just go on at some incredible length, but it's really that even in the simplest game, we have to make sure that the hero doesn't say the same things over and over again. Because remember, you're going to be repeating the same things over and over again. You're going to be interacting with non-player characters who are pretty damn stupid. I'll get back to in a minute.
I'm really liking this talk so far.
You can't have them saying the same things over and over, so you have to find 100 ways to say, I thought I heard something. You know, it just, and then of course there are branching narratives and all that stuff that we all know. But the illusion of immersion is instantly lost if you don't have 100 ways to say what a screenwriter can say just once. But here's the coolest thing I discovered working with a bunch of guys in Hollywood. They think about wonderful moments in a way that we can't. They can't think in terms of one-shot character behaviors, set pieces, memorable bits of business. I was working with John Woo on a project.
Ooh.
And
Just kidding.
we were talking about a character that we were creating for a movie and a game simultaneously. And this guy, he leaped out of his chair and with the movements of a dancer, started acting out the coolest thing I've ever imagined a character doing. And I was determined that I was gonna find a way to use it in a game somewhere. But I had to explain to this guy, one of my heroes, the first time a player does that, it's gonna be really cool. The 100th time, not so much. You know, the first time doves flying in front of the camera, it's really cool. Once a movie, you can get away with it. Every time a gun goes off, doves start flying, people are gonna start laughing. And similarly, you know, like flying down a staircase while shooting. I mean, it's cool.
Ignore 2 by 1.
It's really silly. You know, it's not cool. Now we do have magic moments. These are some of my favorites, and I'm dating myself, I know, but you know, stuff starts reaching out and grabbing guys and pulling them, you know, down into the depths of who knows where. Dogs leap out and surprise you. But those work, I think, because these games, well, we'll get to what kind of games those are. They work for very specific reasons and not in ways that I think are really valuable to us. What's really valuable to us is when we allow players to make the magic moments. They're about repeated actions. Games are about repeated actions where their significance and coolness comes from the context, from what the player decides to do.
2 by 4.
Sure. Okay, so real quick, I want to talk about some other media. I bet if I asked you guys who had played Dungeons and Dragons, a lot of hands would go up. How many people have played Dungeons and Dragons? Yeah. If I asked you, who read, or let's even say it now, who reads comic books? Yeah. Okay. Anybody not watch television? Holy cow, you guys are weird. Okay.
Welcome to the new world.
Not so much. And oral storytelling. Yeah, right. Okay. But I actually think there's a lot we can learn from this. But before I get to that, I want everybody to take a second and turn towards literature.
4 by 1. 1 by 4.
5 minutes left? Holy cow! I'm halfway through my talk. We will be continuing.
1 by 4, 4 by 1. Okay, I don't need that.
Okay. Okay, really rip it. Say a prayer
6 times 10.
Yeah, Gary and Dave. Okay, so there are a lot of things we can learn
What?
about collaborative storytelling. That's
6 times 10. What would be best
player
here?
expression and creativity are what makes tabletop role playing cool. There's no way I'm finishing.
One of these 10s. 10 by 12. There we go.
Okay, sharing just that realization, like letting players drive.
This guy did not plan his speech out.
Would be great. But these are things that I think we don't want to learn. I mean, D&D is, And role-playing ever since has been about, you know, guys who look like the mighty Thor and wield big broadsword. I mean, they're kind of adolescent in their behavior and stuff. You know, we don't want to emulate what a couple of wargamers in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin, in a basement of the library thought was cool. Okay. I mean, we are the first medium that's come along in like 50 years.
6 by 10, but didn't I duplicate the 10 by 10?
Games that are about rolling dice.
Hold on.
How many games, even today, are about secret divers? We can actually simulate what a door is and how it responds to a big sword or a, you know, a shotgun. Why would you freaking roll dice to simulate that? It's ridiculous. You don't have a huge that's a huge problem for us. I will come back to in the 1 minute I have left. Okay, so these are the important lessons we should absolutely not learn. Radio, we're just not going to talk about.
Oh, I guess this doesn't make sense if it went by the other side.
Audio is really important to games. No matter how good our graphics get, we're still in the, you know, making.
Oh my gosh. Well, by George, I ain't gonna take this thing lying down. I got proof for all my figures. I got receipts for all my tax deductions filed away.
Where?
Right here in the hall closet.
What? The hall closet?
I'll get them out and sort through them.
Oh, no, don't open that door, McGee.
Jesus.
Everybody knew what happened when Fibber McGee opened that closet. Forget it. It's not happening. You have to drag me off the stage. Okay, and what about comics? Economical storytelling.
What a guy.
Get more bang for their word buck than even than screenwriters do. There's a little bit of interaction if you've read Understanding Comics. I mean, the amount of information that players have to provide, readers have to provide in the gutter there is huge. And they understand the importance of iconic presentation of information. What we shouldn't get, though it's clear that we can learn something from In the Shadow of No Towers, on the right there, you can deal with adult
6 by
material.
10, 6 by 12? Sure, why not?
We probably don't want to deal with what a lot of comics deal with, sort of kiddie stuff. Okay, oral storytelling. This is I really am going to rip through this because I do not understand this at all. My gut is telling me that there's something about the way a storyteller interacts with the people listening to the story that is really valuable to us. And I've been thinking about it for a year, and if any of you know, please tell me, okay? But, you know, it's an interactive art that encourages the listener's imagination. I mean, it's pretty crazy. We are working in a medium that's about collaborating with our players to tell a story. So, we are dangerously similar, as I've been saying for years, to other media. If you take a superficial look at what we do, very much like these other media, but there's a point where we have to start looking at what makes us unique. The 4 things that I think make us unique. We can transport players to worlds that they can only imagine. It's not Luke Skywalker in a ship, it's you, right? We can immerse you in worlds that seem like they're real.
Alright, a few more options. Might as well. 6 by 6.
Only medium in history that can respond to what players do. No one's ever been able to do that in the entire history of humankind, maybe LARP. We're the only medium that I can think of that it's not happening. That can prize the repeated action. Everything else depends on the unique moment. Okay. So when we're at our best, these are the things that I think we need to be doing to take the next step in our evolution. Players interact with the game world in real time. They're offered significant opportunities to act. There are some of the consequences of those actions, and the game responds appropriately.
Alright, I check all the boxes for the GTC talk.
Okay, so in my description, I promised that I would leave with some specific recommendations for research topics. I'm going to do that very quickly. Okay, story structures. We suck. We have 5 approaches that I can think of. The roller coaster that no matter how well hidden it is, and I think both of those games hide it exceptionally well. You're really, the only choice you're getting to make is, do I jump here or not? What gun do I use to kill that guy? It looks complicated, but that's the illusion. It's really 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's the retold story. I can't believe somebody talked about sports before. That was so cool. There's the retold story. Man, I was waiting for that long straight piece, and oh my god, it never came, and it sucked. The retold story is really powerful to the person telling it. It's boring to listening, but it's a very powerful tool for us, and we shouldn't make fun of it. There's the sandbox where the only story is what you create.
No, that's not what we're doing here.
There's no predetermined narrative at all. There's the hybrid where you still have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Guess what? These are the games that I make, and lots of other people are making them.
Hybrid.
But how you navigate that first part of the story is up to you. How you navigate the second part of the story. And to be frank, that's the best I can think of. Okay, which is pathetic. We have to find a better answer. Procedural stuff. There are a bunch of experiments that have been going on for about 10 years. Maybe a little longer. They've worked in very small cases, but not really in any
I messed this one up.
stuff. They point us in interesting directions, though. I think we need some new structures.
Doesn't matter. It's not really messed up.
New hybrids, whatever. I mean, if we fail, I think we end up a bastard step out of every
There we go.
planet. That's research project number 1. Number 2, virtual actors.
Exactly.
We're doing better on the character graphics front, I think. But that's all we seem to focus on. Prettier pictures. Clearly we made progress, right? But not enough. I had to work to find these 2 examples of anything better than what we were doing, 10 years ago, except for prettier pictures. This is what the mainstream press, for crying out loud, is saying about us. The characters remain primitive and flat. When non-gamers figure that out, we're in trouble. And when interaction models haven't changed since 1990, we've got to work harder. We've got to work harder. I mean, the coolest thing we've done is we've attached a timer to branching conversation systems. I mean, we've got to do better than this. We have to focus a little bit on non-combat AI. I get in so much trouble with programmers when I say this. Oh my god. But, we spend so much time figuring out pathfinding and not having characters fall into holes in the ground, and stuff like that. And how do we outflank the enemy, like going to the women's bathroom and having people notice, people still walk.
Wow, that was random.
Wow, that was cool. That was 13 years ago. Have you ever seen a game?
Oh, I guess that makes sense. I thought he meant the NPC goes to the women's bathroom and people notice.
Have you ever seen a game where there was a spurned lover that mattered, that wasn't just a movie masquerading as a game? Have you ever seen a game where there was a
I don't know that game.
interact with and actually okay, anyway, but that's all stupid hard, and we need to do more of that.
What is this?
We
8 by 8.
That's the next. That's a separate research topic. I hope someone will do. We need to start creating sets, not worlds. I mean, how many games can you just go into every room and have something interesting happen? 0. Yeah, okay. There you go. We need to give players the opportunity to actually go where they want, do what they want. If anybody knows how to create a virtual game master, I mean, it's sort of like putting me in a box or something, or you in a box.
Alright, did all the floors.
That would be really cool. We've been talking about this since 1989.
Floor extensions.
Looking Glass, Ion Storm, Junction, I mean, everywhere.
What does that
And
mean?
we still haven't done it. But good stories are constructed. They're not found. Emergence can only get you so far. And if we can dynamically modify stories based on what players want to do, I mean, like in a good D&D campaign, you want to screw with the game master. No, I'm not fighting.
Exactly. I like this.
And the game master.
This game is me versus the players. I'm the game master. Or the server's the game master.
Okay, summing up for all the people who are mad at me. We've come a long way, obviously. I mean, I've been talking a lot about the ways in which we're similar, the ways in which we shouldn't be similar, and all that. We've come a really long way, right? I remember the days when people would get up on
Hey, what's up?
GDC and say, story doesn't matter except in, it doesn't matter in games and pornography, And I haven't heard the words, Warren, you're not allowed to say the word story ever again in a long time. Okay, so we've made progress. And we can get partway to where I think we are capable of
Floor extension.
by borrowing from other media.
Do I want to include this for people to use? I'm not sure where it snaps to, how you use it.
Original ideas, tough problems solved. The ones that I put up here are the ones that I care about, and I wish I had answers to any of them.
Floor extensions.
You have the opportunity, even now, 30 years after the creation of this medium, you have the opportunity to determine what it's going to become. You can change the world, okay? It's not too late. And I challenge all of you to beat me to the solutions to those problems. Good luck.
I guess you could just snap them anywhere, they just look cool. It's only a few things. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 floor extensions. Let's start with... Whoa, what are we on now? No, I don't want to watch that. That one was good. Laptops of the ancient world. Ancient Greece in 18 minutes. Phantomas. A whole interviewed. Angola 80s. Let's check it out. Hey, that's not the song I wanted. Floor extension. Variation A, variation B, 2 variation A, variation B, 4 corner. That's not like a variation of that. That's more like a variation of this. And actually, like, I don't need to put that in because that's just 2 of these things. So then, what's this really? This is like, okay, that's cool. Does it have another side? It's empty. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4. No, I don't need that. People can snap their own things in. Or maybe I should. Just to have some evenly spaced. Fuck it. Sorry. That could have been cool. Why can't Sith Force choke Jedi in battle? Star Wars theory. The convenience store, kids in the hall. Ancient Greece in 18 minutes. Why does it want me to watch Ancient Greece in 18 minutes? Some kids in the hall.
Thanks. Can you believe I work in a bank? Me in a bank? Does that sound fucked or what? Like it's all this involved convoluted bank bullshit, you know? I.e., I gotta wear a tie. But you know me, right? I wear a tie like that's a little crazy, like this piano keys tie. So when people walk in, it's like, whoa, what's he doing in a bank? First thing in the morning, people give me shit. That's how I know my day's begun. I'm sorry, sir, your signature just isn't good enough. It's just not holding up. I've been watching it deteriorate for months. You're losing it, guy, and it shows. Oh, I'll take your check around and show it to people, but not so they'll authorize it, but so they can have a good laugh. Sir, were you aware that you were gross? Did you know that your check smelt? I look at him and it's like, Who would fuck you?
God.
At night, I'm crazy. Some nights I go crazy. Some nights I get crazy. I'm the king of the clubs. I move back and forth. Hey, Casca, how you doing, man? Fuck the bank I work for. Fuck the bank. Man, nice hair. See you in England. Fuck the bank I work for. Fuck the bank.
So fucking funny. I love these guys.
Sorry, Ms. Iverson. I just can't fit my lunch hour into the tight parameters you set. To me, a lunch hour isn't an hour, it's a state of mind. I'm sorry, I can't help it if it's a welfare check day, and they'll be hobbling in droves. Don't blame someone who has a job. Why don't you blame the people who can't hold down jobs, but take cabs all the time anyway? I look at Miss Minnie.
What?
Who would fuck you?
Oh, I should make these the corners, actually.
Be bisexual. It would increase her chances. But someday she'll go crazy. I'll eat pancakes on her grave. Fuck my diet. Fuck the bank I work for. Fuck the bank. I'll be quitting soon. Fuck the bank.
Such a good fucking skit. Oh god. It's just classic.
Not yet. Better take off that party hat, son. You're not gonna need it where we're going.
Wait a second.
Okay. Dad, where are we going?
Drunk dad advice. That last one was banker guy or whatever. I had a feeling you might like the banker guy one, dude. That one was bank people. This shit is funny too. Hold on.
Not yet.
Okay, you get the idea.
Better take off that party hat, son. You're not gonna need it where we're going.
Okay. Dad, where are we going?
You're gonna be a man, little boy. Chad? This rock is a big part of the McFolson tradition. For generations, the McFolson men have been coming here on their 13th birthday to enter manhood. You see, there's certain parts about being a man that one just has to experience. So like my father before me, you're gonna watch your dad get pathetically drunk. Happy birthday, son. Broke my hand on a pineapple. Didn't even care. $10 is $10. And $20 is $20. 30. So if you're cold, there's a Wolverine there. But never.
This one's not as funny as bank people, I'll admit.
Two sisters.
I want to peruse your report card.
I don't have it.
I said, Mister, I want your report card.
do acid. Wait an hour before you go swimming.
What the hell?
Oatmeal, raisins, oranges, tropical fruits of all kinds. That's where my old man puked. Everybody's got a job to do. Everybody's got to move and groove. I'm cold, Chad. I'm not spiritually cold. Daddy's cold. Mr. Bus Driver!
It'd be better with the widow.
So then, they loaded up the truck, and they moved to Beverly.
Wasn't that a long time ago?
Leave me. Leave me. I just need some sleep.
So, no one here's a Libra? No. Well, I'll read it anyway. You want to be liked?
I want to hang on to see what the punchline is. I feel like there's a punchline.
Chad. So, do you feel any older?
Yeah. A lot older.
Guess not. just sometimes they're just fucked up. Sometimes they're just like, oh.
Oh no, I'll eat anything, and Chuck just adores poultry.
Good, because that's what we're having.
Here we are. Chicken à la fantastique.
Stephen, it smells fantastic.
Well, you have utensils. Enjoy. Here, lover. You carve. Excuse me.
I'm so glad you two could come. Stephen's been wanting to meet you for so long, and I can tell he really likes you.
Well, we really like him too, don't we, Chuck?
Good. It's important to me that you like him. I want you to see how we live, who we are, and how we love.
Honey, honey, did you miss me? Well, I couldn't eat a thing. I'm exhausted from cooking all day. Everybody enjoying the meal? Good, good. Chuck? Good. Because that's what's important. For people to enjoy a meal that's cooked, not for the cook to enjoy the meal.
We heard you went to Arizona last year. Yeah, well, we're hoping to go to Arizona next year. Chuck and I want to collect Indian artifacts.
Well, yes, lots of Indians, lots of Indian artifacts. Excuse me.
Jason, does Stephen have a lazy bladder?
No, he's just, needed elsewhere.
For what? What's he doing?
Well, it's a big place. We're always renovating. You know what they say, Chuck? Renovations wait for no man.
Well, he seemed awfully agitated.
He's just nervous about meeting the two of you. He wants so much to impress.
That darn cat!
I thought you had a dog.
We did! But the cat ate the dog ate the frog ate the fly, and I think I'll die. Oh, well, I do enjoy a nursery rhyme, don't you, Chuck? I guess it's because it reminds us of when we were all in the nursery, huh? Well, quite a lot of places. Enjoy.
Stephen?
Yes?
Are you okay?
I'm fine, I'm perfect. Olivia and I talked all about Arizona, and there's been no problem. As usual,
I'm contemplating whether to put a snap point in the middle of here,
Where are you going?
like in the gap, or just pick one of these, or just not put another one. Just have it snap on the edges there.
For your information, I've been spotting my photos that look so shiny. I can't have our guests seeing the reflections every time they look at me. They deserve so much more. Now, if you excuse me, the stress has made my forehead shinier.
So, how's that Guatemalan woman's visa application coming along?
We're hoping for speedy results. It's an important matter of justice.
Groovy teacher. Alright, there we go. That's a good one.
Hi, kids. Hi, how are you? Good afternoon. I'm going to be your new English teacher this year, and my name is Mr. Theodore Behrens. But I want you all to call me Theo. Huh? Because that's what my friends call me, and that's what I want us to be, friends. Okay? So I'm just going to relax, all right? I'm just going to, tell you what, I'm going to loosen this noose a little. In fact, I'm going to take it right off, because there's no ties in this classroom. What do you say? No ties in this classroom. Great. Okay, let's get to know each other. Let's wrap. You, why don't you tell us something about yourself?
Well, my name's Larry.
Bullshit! That's right, I said bullshit. Because that's what that was. That's what I'm going to call it whenever I hear bullshit. And I expect the same courtesy from all of you whenever I talk bullshit. Now, Larry may be the name your parents gave you. To make your name. No, you should pick a name that's right for who you are. Pick a name, Larry. What name do you want to have?
Well, I've always liked Barry.
Barry it is. Class meet Barry. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cop to the authority thing. Since I've been under a lot of stress lately, I've recently gone through kind of an ugly divorce. You know, my wife and I, we had sort of an open relationship, and I could never quite find the right time or the right words to tell her that we did. So anyway, when she found out about our little understanding quite by accident one night, I guess that just left me a little bit.
Alright, 4 extensions are done. Oh, the corner.
Is anyone here gay? Anyone in the class gay? Anyone? Do we have any gay students? I mean, it's 1 in 10. I mean, the odds are somebody here is gay, eh? Well, no one here is gay. No one at all. Well, that seems pretty odd. Let's have a look here. What about you, Steven? Aren't you gay?
No, I'm not, Theo.
Come on, Steve, it's okay.
I'm not gay, Theo, but please don't scream bullshit at me.
Steven, everybody here knows that you're gay.
Yeah. But I'm not. I'm not gay.
Steve, I know what your problem is. You're worried about how these people are going to respond. You're worried about maybe losing friends, maybe your girlfriend. Isn't that right, Linda?
I had no idea.
Linda, I'm not gay! Let's not drag this out, Steven. Or should I say, Stefan? Linda, you're doing the right thing. You've got to let Steven go. Let him find himself. Let him come to terms with his own sexuality.
But I'm not gay, Theo.
And Linda, I know how hard this is going to be for you. I know that you might find yourself some night confused, lonely, needy, drunk in front of my house at number 12 Beacon Street, searching for someone older who can make you feel like a woman. But Linda, I have a rule. I never sleep with a woman unless she's at least 18. Or a very mature 17. But Linda, don't pressure me. I'll cave in, Linda. I'll give in. Linda, please, I'm begging you. Don't stand. Don't stand so close to me. Because I'll cave in, Linda. Because, yeah, I'm weak. I'm weak like any other man. I'm just a human. Right? I drink a little. Yeah. I've smoked pot. All right. Yeah. I've tried heroin. A few times, yeah. And you know what I'm trying to do now is I'm really trying hard to cut down on the number of times that I try heroin.
Jesus.
You know what I'm gonna do right now? I'm just gonna get under my desk for a few minutes. And while I'm there, what do you say we listen to a little rock and roll music? Because you know, lyrics are just poetry set to music. Did you know that? It's valid. Okay, and while I'm there, Linda, would you mind joining me under my desk? There's something I'd like to talk to you about. It could be school related, maybe notes or marks, something, I don't know. About my marks.
Linda, I'm not gay.
And I'm not angry, Steven.
Oh my god. Alice Cooper.
This is bullshit, Theo.
Right.
Sit down, fag. I'm not gay. I'm not gay.
I have a couple more I can use. Oops. No, we'll just skip freedom of speech sketch.
Here's a sketch from the kids in the hall. To hear how the sketches like these came together, keep watching for an exclusive Nerdist channel interview.
Okay. Here's one.
Morning, Mr. Perkins. Here's your mail.
Thanks.
Minus 108.
Here's your mail, Mr. Erickson.
Thanks, Joe. Thanks.
I'm sorry, sir. Don't fire me.
Fire you, Joel, on your first day as the new second assistant manager?
What?
That's right, Joel. I'm promoting you. You've been mail clerk for 6 years now. I thought you deserved a break.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna walk over there.
Hey, Joel. Congratulations. Hope you won't forget your friends now you've been promoted.
I'm sorry, but I can't hear you, Erickson. I guess that's because you're from my past. And as we all know, sound doesn't travel so well from the past. You see, you are a big slab of concrete. And I am a meteor. A meteor on the rise.
Are you serious?
I am serious. And I am dangerous. For I am second assistant manager of the 9th floor, in charge of requisitions and supplies, and I have gone mad with power! Hey, aren't I in charge of all the paper on the floor? Quick, give me 4,000 pounds of paper, and I want it now! Think of it!
I haven't seen this shit.
What are you all staring at? Do you think he's gone mad? Mad with power? Well, you're right! Perkins, from now on you work under your desk! I said under your desk, man!
Should I put these in?
Hey, what the hell gives you the right to order us around, huh?
Don't bother me, Worm. I would have you fired if I had a little more power. I've gone mad with my moderate amount of power!
Well, great. Why don't you just go to hell?
Oh, I'll go to hell. But I swear I'll bring you along for the ride! I have an announcement to make! I'm in charge of the water cooler! From now on, no one gets any water unless they get my permission, and no one gets my permission! Are you thirsty under there, Perkins? Well, you can't have any!
I'll have to see how big these are, or where the floors line up. But I think I should put this in. That's a lot of stuff. Let me see if this is composed of... Oh, what the fuck?
Let's review your first week as second assistant manager. Oh, you came in on time every day. That's good. That's really good. But you killed Perkins, and that's bad.
He wouldn't stay under his desk, guy. Told him to stay under his desk.
10, 10 by 12,
Yeah.
10 by 12,
I think
10.
that
These
brings
match
us
with
to
all the
the
floor
main-
sizes.
You've been abusing the very moderate amount of power we gave you. I have no choice.
Main, mid.
You're back to being mail clerk. Okay?
You can't send me back there. They'll eat me alive.
And I say bon appetit.
Oh, sweet Jesus.
This has no door.
Kevin sketch.
So I remember you and I, Norm,
What
writing
do you-
it. I remember
wait,
you had a
what?
lot of the ideas. Was it based on that guy that worked on the 4th floor, or did they just tell us later, oh, it's exactly like him? Remember that guy, what's his name? The nice guy. Bob! Bob, the big meatloaf fan.
Yes.
Because remember he got a little promotion and he went mad with a moderate amount of power.
that was based on him.
It was based on Bobby, but
Yes.
a nice guy that, like a nice overweight guy that all of a sudden went crazy. It was the tiniest promotion in the world.
So who were your comedy influences? Who influenced you guys as performers?
Probably the first conscious one was Jerry Lewis.
Yeah.
I was about 4
Same with me.
years old. I remember.
Yeah.
Remember like doing Jerry Lewis pratfalls, kindergarten.
What would you do with this? How would you use this? It has no
Frank
walls.
Zappa.
I mean, it has no doors.
Probably a big one when I was a little older.
How would you? What would you do?
Marx Brothers, Python.
I'm so
the
confused.
SCTV. Andy Kaufman was a big one. I always think I always say this, we're a combination of Jerry Lewis and Andy Kaufman. Like strange and silly.
He fits like 100 words into the space of one of his.
And I do believe Nazi scientists tried to combine Andy Kaufman and Jerry Lewis at one point.
Oh, yes.
Nice.
I tried to.
Yeah.
There's also a funny Nazi scientist that we're a big fan of.
It's very underrated.
Schimberger is very.
Eugenics gets a bad name.
Wait a second. Face. What can I do this? Face mash. Face mash. Face mash. Can I do a face mash? Something like that. Face mash. Oh, that's what that was. No, I want more faces. Do Yep. Wait, no, actually, remove that. No, you can't do that to me. Oh, okay, wait. Find one that looks like Jerry Lewis. Shit, I gotta find my own. This is very important. This is science. This one. I don't know if it's gonna match. This is really, really important. Continue. Yeah, I already spoiled what it's supposed to look like, but I want to see what Jerry Lewis plus Andy Kaufman would look like. I guess it's uploading or something.
But now that we're all talking about it,
Yeah.
They did
I
try
agree.
and silly. And conceptual. The way Andy Kaufman done it.
Yeah. And I do believe Nazi scientists tried to combine Andy Kaufman and Jerry Lewis at one point.
Oh, yes, they did. They
I
did
do
try
believe-
to.
Yeah.
There's also a funny Nazi scientist that we're a big fan of.
They're very underrated.
Schimberger is very.
Eugenics gets a bad name.
Hi, I'm Bruce McCullough from The Kids in the Hall, and after
Oh,
this,
shit.
I'll be sitting down with Chris Hardwick, and we'll be talking about the show. And things, like women, sadness, and beauty.
What?
I'm doing it.
What the?
I wonder how long I can put this on for.
Oh, Armando?
Yeah?
Good afternoon, sir. I'd like to talk to you about something that I think the no home should be without.
Front door, already have one, thank you.
No, sir. It's not a front door. Actually, it's encyclopedias. May I come in?
Whatever makes you happy.
Thank you. Well, my name is Robert, and you are?
You lost me.
What's your name?
Once a guy named Robert wanted to know my name.
Okay. Well, first of all, sir, I'm going to need your full, undivided attention.
Sure, as long as I can also watch TV at the same time.
Oh, can I turn off the TV?
I don't know, can ya? What?
Okay, let me start off by saying that encyclopedias are like a window to the world.
Obviously.
And through this window, we can access
You lost me.
Really? Okay. Encyclopedias are a wealth of information right at your fingertips.
Listen, I'm going to tell you something, and I don't want you to take it personally.
Yes.
But you're not a very good encyclopedia salesman, are you?
But I haven't even done my pitch yet.
Well, what does that tell you? Here, let me help you out.
Okay.
Encyclopedias are...
Encyclopedias are...
You lost me.
Encyclopedias
are an essential tool for any home.
Okay, now this tool, is it called something? Does it have a name?
Yes, it's called an encyclopedia.
Now we're cooking.
Okay, if you need information on any topic.
Hold it, is this just a book on elephants? Because I already have one.
There we go.
No, it's not just on elephants, it's on everything.
Everything, great. So if a guy borrowed my shovel, then moved away, I could find out where he lives.
No. No.
Then what the hell good is it to me?
Well, it's a collection of books.
Obviously.
It's a collection of books.
You lost me.
It's a collection of books. Full of
Oh, I guess this is for second floors. But then how do you get into... Oh.
Actually, as a matter of fact, it
Oh, okay.
does. Let me see. Here it is, sir. B. Bowling. A game in which two players or teams compete by rolling balls at standing pins.
I know what bowling is.
Huh?
What the hell are these guys doing?
Bowling.
Duh. Listen, I'm gonna tell you something, and I don't want you to take it personally. But instead of selling an encyclopedia, you should be selling a collection of books categorized from A to Z for easy reference, full of educational information or food for thought for the curious mind.
10 by 10. If I just copy these...
You're an easy sell, but I don't buy it. I would like to know how Kenny sold you that vacuum.
Or 10 by 10?
Okay. So if you find that guy who took my shovel, would you put it in your book?
Good day, sir.
First floor, second floor?
There he goes.
Or first level? Or house with door, or with door, without door?
Let's talk about encyclopedia.
Or
It's a compendium of all
enclosed, or walls with doorway?
Do you remember the encyclopedia sketch?
I don't remember the encyclopedia.
House
I remember
with
the title.
door, or just walls with doorway.
I've never seen our show.
So we dropped that.
Hey! Hey Foley here. You're about to watch me in a sketch from the Kids in the Hall show. But keep watching as we discuss the sketch here on the Nerdist channel.
Okay, so that should just overlap just fine with that. Upper corners here.
So obviously I wake up in the garbage. First thing I do in the morning is go across the street to the restaurant.
That should be pretty good.
Grab a guy by the throat and whisper something in his ear like, I don't know, I'm on fire. Give me your hair. Then I let him go, you know.
Just make these the snap points for the doorway, though.
A couple blocks, make sure it's not doing nothing I don't like, then I let it go. When I get bored, then I go up on a roof. I just howl at the city. You know, I love to howl at this big city. Then I come down, have a cup of coffee, and read the paper.
And where's the door snapped to? I think a corner.
I'm a songwriter. You know, and that isn't easy. And although I've had some success in the past, you know, I had a song on the charts back in '79. You know, maybe you remember it. If you need someone to Rabunda. Let's call it Rabunda. Well, ever since then, I've just been plugging away, you know, trying to come up with number 2, because, you know, I'm sure I've got it in me. And so what I do is every day I get up and first thing, I rewrite my hit. Write it out on brand new paper and give it a brand new name. You know, and then I send it out that way, out towards the industry. And then I go back home, have a cup of coffee, read the paper.
My routine? Sure, no problem.
Sorry.
Okay, first thing in the morning, I wake up, and then I get up, and then I have a shower usually, and and then I get dressed, and I put on a nice new shirt, and then I take out my Zippo lighter, and I light my shirt on fire. It burns up, and then the ambulance comes, and then it takes me to the hospital, and then the doctor comes out. Yeah, the doctor, and he works on my burns for a while, and then after that, I get to go to the waiting room where I have a cup of coffee and I read the paper. Relax, you know.
Well, first thing I like to do in the morning is wake up. You know?
my teeth. I'm always late, so I like to get dressed as I run for the bus, you know? All the pants, the shirt, the whole thing, right? I don't wear underwear, so that would save time. No matter how late I am, though, I always stop at the corner store for coffee to go in a paper. I don't dick around, right? You know, I'm talking about a coffee the size of my head.
Well, I'm a surgeon, so my days are very busy, but my mornings are great. What I like to do is take a nice shower, go down, have a light breakfast, always fat-free, hop in my BMW and drive to work, slow and easy. And when I get to the hospital, it's boom, the nurse is there. Boom, on with the gown. Boom, I'm handed my favorite scalpel. Boom, then I work on a guy who lights his shirt on fire. Then it's off with the gown, down the morgue, and I have my favorite cup of coffee, and I read my newspaper.
Here's your shirt, Norman.
Oh, thanks, Patty. Have a nice day.
What were the years of Kids in the Hall? Was it 88 to 94?
Do you count the pilot? Also, it may feel boring.
The pilot was what, 80?
The pilot was 87. We'll be with you in a minute. That was a 1 hour.
1 hour pilot in 87.
And the TV show started in 89.
89. Started airing in 89.
Yeah, it's airing in 89. We started writing in the late 88.
Yeah.
True story. And then we stopped shooting in 94, but I believe...
Baby image. I don't want a baby.
It kept airing until 95.
Yes, because...
Well, okay.
Yes. It was still airing as I was starting my much more famous show, News Radio.
Yes, and I was starting my failure year. So that's how I remember. Hi, I'm Kevin McDonald from the Kids in the Hall, and you're watching the Nerdist channel.
I don't know.
Here's a sketch.
Python.
Oh yeah, the SCTV. Andy Kaufman was a big one. I always think I always say this, we're a combination of Jerry Lewis and Andy Kaufman. Like strange and silly. And conceptual. The way Andy Kaufman thought of concepts.
Yeah. And I do believe Nazi scientists tried to combine Andy Kaufman and Jerry Lewis at one point.
Oh, yes, they did. They did try to.
Yeah.
There's also a funny Nazi scientist that we're a big fan of.
It's very underrated.
Schimberger is very...
Eugenics gets a bad name.
But now that we're all talking about it.
Yeah.
Just saying. Just saying. That's
Hi, I'm Kevin McDonald from
that's a winner there.
and you're watching the Nerdist channel.
Did I think this one also? 10 times 10.
It wasn't a great movie, but how often do you see a great movie?
Oh, I saw a great movie last night. It was on the Late Show. It
12
was,
by 12.
what was it called? It's a classic. It's a classic. It's oh, I hate this. I hate it when this happens.
Well, what was it about?
It's about this
Oh, yeah.
newspaper tycoon, and he's dead, and everybody's telling stories about him, and
It's Citizen Kane.
No, that's not it. No, but it's something like that.
Okay, who was in it?
Orson Welles is in it.
This is really easy now that all these are.
It's Citizen Kane.
No, that isn't it. But it's you're not far from it. It's
Well, who else was in it?
I don't know.
Was Joseph Cotten in it?
What else has he been in?
The Third Man, The Magnificent Ambersons.
Oh, The Magnificent Ambersons. Yes, he was in it. Yes. Oh, that's one of my favorite Orson Welles movies.
Well, this is definitely Citizen Kane then. You're talking about Citizen Kane.
No, but it's
I just watched this like days ago. It's still funny.
No, not Psy. Citizen Kane. It's Citizen Kane.
Psycho.
It's Psycho. No, it isn't Psycho.
It's Psycho.
No, it is Psycho. Is this about a motel owner who's crazy and kills a woman in a shower?
No, I just told you it's about this newspaper tycoon. He had a slut named Rosebud, and
I guess it wasn't Psycho, was it?
No, it wasn't Psycho.
It was Citizen Kane.
No, it was Angela, Angels.
No,
the trouble with
No,
Angels.
wasn't the trouble with Angels, no. That's not even close.
The front page.
Oh, the front page is a comedy. Did you laugh once?
No.
Then I guess it wasn't the front page, was it?
Well, what the hell was it then?
Look, that guy has a newspaper. I'm gonna read the TV listings, and we'll settle this one.
Oh, no, don't. I really want to remember this myself.
Please,
I want to get it myself. Please, I want to remember this myself. Please.
Just sit down.
Oh, great. That's really gonna help me to think. That's great. You know what? I almost had it, but now
please, and we'll settle this myself.
Oh, no, don't. I really want to remember this myself.
Please,
I want to get it myself. Please, I want to remember this myself. Please.
Just sit down.
Oh shit. Oh, I didn't see that.
Really gonna help me to think. That's great. You know what? I almost had it, but now thanks to you, I've gone blank.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
what time was it on last?
We don't. It's 11:30. We don't need the papers. The paper.
Okay, what channel? What channel was it on?
Paper was channel 3. Paper.
Look! Citizen Kane! It was Citizen Kane! It was Citizen Kane! It was Citizen Kane!
Okay, big deal. Just take the knife out. Huh? Just take the knife out.
You admit you're wrong, I'll take the knife out.
Oh, come on, grow up. Take the knife out.
Oh, no. You never admit you're wrong. When you admit you're wrong, I'll grow up.
You're being very mature now. Would you please take the knife out?
When you admit you're wrong, you never admit you're wrong.
Look, you're making a fool of yourself in front of everyone, all right? Would you just please take the knife out? Take the damn knife out. Oh, jeez. Listen, look, would you mind just calling me a, oh, what are they called? No, I want a,
Do you want 2 guys in the van to come and take care of your hand and bring you to a hospital?
Yes, exactly, yes.
Then you want an ambulance.
No, I don't. I want a, No, it isn't. I want a, no, it's a...
It's an ambulance. You want an ambulance. It's an ambulance. You want an ambulance.
No, it's called a...
You want an ambulance. No,
it's a...
what you want? You want a mortician! You want a This is on me. Check, please.
Citizen Kane sketch, which I think is probably one of the most famous Kids in the Hall sketches. If you're with a bunch of comedians and you just go, Citizen Kane, and then someone else is going to pop in and recite that as well. So how did that get written and then...
We were at a donut store.
Select Sandwich.
Select Sandwich. It is Select Sandwich.
Across from my apartment in Dundas Street.
Remember we came up with 3 ideas. One of them was a naysayer.
Yeah.
Dave definitely thought of Citizen Kane, and we had some pen and paper, and we started writing notes. And that was sort of, it was definitely your idea, and we started spritzing it.
Yeah.
We spritzed it. I mean, that's definitely a thing that seemed to be like spritz, and then we remember the spritz and write it down later.
It took, well, I think that it took as long to write as it takes to perform.
Yes.
Almost. Yeah. It was really incredibly fast. And it was just Kevin, and it was still one of my favorite scenes to perform. Yeah. Because I love it's what I think it's like the epitome of what Kevin and I do together.
Yeah.
Which is where there's no real jokes. It's all about playing. It's all about the rhythms
and attitudes and rhythms.
Yeah, and playing off each other's timing.
Whose idea was it to have the fake hand on the table the entire time to pay that off at the end?
Dave's was definitely David's idea to stab the thing in the knife.
Yeah, well, we used to do it because we did it as a club. It was in the club act before we had the TV show. It was one of the old sketches, and on stage we just would do it where I would just get my hand out. I would find an excuse, put my hand out, and Kevin would hit me with a retractable knife, and I would palm it. You know,
I sometimes would miss the hand,
and I'd have to scramble for it.
Ow!
But then when we did it on TV, we realized we couldn't do it that way. We'd actually have to, then we did the fake hand in there. Yeah. Oh, I just remembered something though.
Yeah, go ahead.
The knife in the hand. That was actually, it's kind of a reference to another movie reference, The Godfather.
Oh right.
The scene in the bar where they stabbed, was it Luca Brazzi's hand?
Luca Brazzi, yeah.
On the bar. And that was always to me one of the most horrifying scenes in movies. Yeah. Was when they just stabbed the knife through his hand in the bar. So that was.
But of course, he didn't just play it off like, "Oh, great! Oh, that's great."
No, yeah.
That's my mafia yelling impression.
It was really good. It was like I felt like I was at a mafia for a second.
At a mafia.
Hi, I'm Kevin McDonald from the Kids in the Hall, and you're watching the Nerdist channel. On April the 14th, I would like to respond in the affirmative, sincerely yours, etc., etc., etc. Could you repeat that back to me, Donna? Donna? What the hell? I forgot to call Donna! Oh, God, I'll never remember all that. Donna, get your ass in here!
Sir, I need a raise.
Great, Donna, take this down. Dear sir.
No, I'm not Donna. I'm Greg.
Oh, sorry, Greg. I always get you and Donna confused. So it's Greg and not Donna.
Yes.
Great. I'm glad I could be of service, and I want you and all my employees to feel free to come by and see me whenever there's a problem.
No, that wasn't it, sir.
It wasn't.
No, sir, I want a raise.
A raise?
Yes.
Let me think about it. No.
I'm afraid I can't take no for an answer, sir.
Well, then you're asking the wrong question.
Sir, I really believe that I've been working very hard and that I'm essential to the success of this
I'm wondering if I should duplicate the floors or duplicate the ones that have the doorway thing.
Really such a talented comedy writer that you deserve a raise?
Makes more sense to duplicate the floors.
Sketch, didn't you?
Yes.
It's gotta be the oldest premise in the world, a guy asking his boss for a raise. This really proves your worth to us here at Comedy Inc. Comedy Inc. How'd you come up with that one? Oh, and what's my name again? Pardon?
Mr. Picklefeather.
And let me tell you, I just love playing the one-dimensional stereotype that is Mr. Picklefeather. I just love it! Let me ask you a few questions. Am I married?
I'm sure.
Do I have any children?
I don't know.
Did I go to college?
I don't think it really...
Am I cut? Am I uncut?
I don't think it's important.
Did I exist before the scene at all?
I really don't think that affects the scene.
If I remember right, don't I hit you with a pie later in page 4?
Yes.
Well, that's something different.
Look, I stand by the sketch. I think it's very strong. I think there's a potential for a reoccurring character here.
Oh, yeah. I can see it now. The, I want to raise guy. You see, Greg, our budget is like a pie. 25% of the pie goes to research. Another 25% of the pie goes to promotion. Of course, the third quarter, there's development. And the last quarter goes to me. All that we have left is the crumbs, which is why I pay a worker like you to live on.
Let me get up. I'll be right back.
Forgot to write an ending, didn't you?
Hey, what's up?
Well, I just...
6
How did you guys get together? Were you at university together?
Well, in a way, we were in comedy school, the Second City workshops, where Dave and I met.
Yeah, Kevin and I met. It was my very first Second City workshop. Kevin had been going to them a little longer than me.
You want to show them what we were doing the first time?
Please. Remember our mic? Remember, we're wearing hardwired mics.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah,
we were randomly paired up by our teacher Alan Gutman to do the mirror exercise.
That's the story.
Yeah. And
see, we're crazy like Robin Williams. We get up, we do this.
We do
bids.
Oh, shoes.
But we managed to make each other laugh during the lamest of all improv exercises, the mirror exercise.
That's a mirror exercise. Is that just supposed to be? You're supposed to be paying attention to someone else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess that's it.
Or is it a tap into intuition? You're supposed to be so close to the person. We don't.
Now that's
we f***ed it up when we were doing it and had fun. And then at the end of that class, Kevin asked me to join his improv team.
I didn't have one.
But that's how you start an improv team. You
Yeah,
start
exactly.
asking people in your class to join.
Six. What is this jazz?
Hi, I'm Mark McKinney from Kids in the Hall. You're about to see one of our sketches, but keep watching for an exclusive Nervous Channel interview.
I don't know how to play the piano. Never took the time to learn. Songwriting's not my forte. And rhyming's harder than it sounds. Same.
I can't believe they're letting me sing here. In me, no musical talent can be found. I look pretty awful in this gown, dear, and my legs aren't structurally sound.
Groups that sort of form this mega group, I assume that there were kind of like writing factions.
Yes.
And did you sort of innately have these ideas of like, oh yeah, of course that's the way they write, but this is the way this is a Mark and Bruce sketch, like
kind of. And listen, I was an asshole too. Like I remember when we first started writing comedy, I thought if you ever repeated a sketch, you were a hack. So that's why, which is ridiculous, of course. So we would throw away everything every week. And only when we started repeating our sketches and kind of stuff did we get good. And I remember when Kevin and Dave wrote an ad parody, and I remember like going.
Pardon me. Whew, it's important.
The Beverly and getting drunk and going, who are we? We're writing ad parodies, and it was really funny when you watch it now, the Dina Petty show thing. And it's like sort of an arrogance. So we all had our own arrogance in a way. So we would run full speed at each other with our arrogance, and that would turn into what the show was.
But I think early on, before I think everyone wound up with wounded feelings at some point. But there was a part of that sharpened everybody's game. I think because if you have to defend your piece against people thinking that
Last one.
going some other direction, you tend to dig
8 by
in.
8.
And I think the odds broke in our favor. That often that made it made the piece better. Not all the time, but I actually remember the moment I transited from and sort of like got an appreciation for what everybody was doing, and because Dave and Kevin had written this really funny piece called "I Can't Play the Piano," which was just a straight out
ridiculous Kevin Bragg sliding on top of a Steinway and Dave's hammering away with no musicality whatsoever, and they're singing "I Can't Play the Piano" atonally, and it was really funny. And
yeah, that shit was ridiculous.
Thought it was no, and I thought, you're insane. That's crazy, and I realized, oh, I get it now. You can be too snobby. So I dropped my standards right there and then.
So last here, wooden door, wooden plank. Wagon. Trow wagon.
Please join us after this sketch for a backstage discussion.
Wagon wheel, wagon post, wagon basket.
Is how I came to my decision to remain celibate.
Needs to go into.
Thank you. Okay. And now, let us raise our glass in a toast to yet another happy couple. And may I object? Pardon? Earlier you said if someone had a reason why these two shouldn't be married, they should speak up. Well, I have a reason, and I think it's a good one. What? Yes, my son, but you should have done it 2 hours ago. Don't be such a nitpicker, priesty boy. Okay, this is my objection. It will come to no surprise to anyone here that Cindy, the lovely bride, and I had an intense and sustained flirtation. What? What? No. Come on, Cindy. All right, okay. We'd get really close, and we'd almost get there. But then she said, I don't want a relationship. Who wants a relationship? And then when I looked the other way, she made another finger. Fine. Now she's married that finger, finer, but hey! I'm a reasonable man, and I will allow this celebration of love to continue, but under one condition. That you, Cindy, meet me in the back room for 5 minutes. 5 minutes of hard pumping. Oh. Come on, Cindy, you owe me. It is. It's all good. People, brothers and sisters, peace! We are all so quick to judge, aren't we? This man is obviously in pain. Pain? Have we not all had the pain of unrequited love from people, women, choirs, and the like? Yet this is a sacred time. And
Choirs.
All right, we'll do it. We'll do it right here on the head table. Is that what you want?
In front of everyone?
Yeah. Yeah, you got 5 minutes. Let's go, come on.
Okay, I'll keep the time.
Did you come up against a lot of censorship?
Well, I mean, we did and we didn't. I mean, we did Naked for Jesus, and that was a bit of a problem. We did Dr. Seuss Bible.
Not because of the nudity, because you were talking about Jesus, I assume, right?
Yeah. We did Dr. Seuss Bible, which had a crucifixion, and someone wouldn't, at CBC, they wouldn't work on the crucifixion machine. And then I bought the crucifixion machine, and it was in my house with the woman I was living with at the time. And I moved out and left the crucifixion machine there. But I think the censorship, actually Canada was pretty cool then. I know I always talked in the media about like the censorship kind of as a pre-negotiation with CBC.
Right.
They're like, they won't let us do what we want, man. But I think they let us do almost everything we needed to do. We did have, which ended up Cancer Boy in our movie, they made him be Dying Kid, which actually sadder to me, Dying Kid, because you can actually get cancer. Dying Kid has nowhere to go.
Yeah.
But see, okay, so he's terminal. But that was kind of, the fights were few and far between, really. But I remember once when Scott thought that we should be able to show sperm on TV because he has written something that we should see sperm on a guy or whatever it was, and I remember him going, "But it's the stuff of life."
And that didn't sway the
No, it
CBC.
didn't sway them.
You can't ever justify a cum shot to a network by saying it is the stuff of life.
He didn't give up on that either, because I was in New York when 9/11 happened, and Scott was there promoting his one-person show, which featured a poster of him with splooge on his face. And I was sort of like wandering around Times Square in the days a couple of days after that, and I came across Scott's face looking at me with jizz on it.
And
well,
still trying to make
his show was supposed to open 9/12.
Yeah, literally.
His show was going to open the day after 9/11, and obviously a great tragedy. But I think he was still kind of going, okay, well, I'm going to have to cancel the first couple shows, but then
we'll just start on 9/18. It'll be fine. Like,
yeah,
no,
a week.
Not really. No.
Oh, wooden stairs I've already done. Okay, yeah, so I can delete one of these. Wood fence can do.
You're watching Kids in the Hall on the Nerdist channel. Coming up after this sketch, we'll be discussing the show with Chris Hardwick.
Is that what I think it is?
Yes.
Is that a baby?
Yes, it is.
May I?
Oh, please do, please.
Oh, oh, look at it. Is it? Oh, oh.
My wife's got a whatchamacallit, maternal instinct.
Oh, I can see that. What a wonderful
Right,
baby.
fence being
Oh, well,
fences.
and smart.
Yes, I've been told that.
Wood steps.
Boy, it's a wonderful, smart baby boy. This is the kind I was telling you about.
How many miles on this baby?
Well, he's 5 months old, if that's what you mean.
Yeah? Has he got all the shots and stuff? I mean, is there anything wrong with him? Like, does he eat a real lot? Does he leak? Or...
Oh, look, he's got your eyes, honey.
Oh, yeah?
He's got your eyes. You know, first they have their baby teeth.
Yes.
And then they fall out.
Oh, yes, I know.
But I would save those if I were you.
Oh, well,
You know, before you know it, I bet he'll be wearing 6X.
Oh, well, God willing.
I know a lot about babies because this is the kind of baby I hope to have one day.
Oh, well, I'm sure you'll have a
This is already so creepy.
No, I can't have children of my own.
Oh, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said anything.
It's not her fault, it's mine.
Oh.
Yeah, I had a vasectomy when I was 14. You know, a lot of the guys were doing it, sort of manly thing, vasectomy, tattoos, that kind of stuff.
Well, I am sorry.
Hey, don't be sorry. I was pretty popular in high school, as you can well imagine.
Well, I really must be going now.
Hey, I don't think my woman's done with your baby yet.
No, I'm not.
But I have to go.
Great. She can leave the baby here with us.
Oh, would you? That would be so nice.
Yeah.
We could play and sing.
No, no, I don't think that's such a good idea.
Wait, are you telling me that you don't think my woman's good with children?
No, that's not what I'm saying. No, no, it's just that I really have to go.
They call them bouncing baby boys, but they don't bounce, you know.
Please.
They just plop. Don't find that out the hard way.
My baby
Excuse me. Honey, is this the one or not?
I'm not sure. The other one was so nice, too. Let me
He has an inner ear dysfunction.
What?
He has an inner ear dysfunction. The doctors say it could result in the 40% loss of hearing. And they think there's something
46.
Something horribly wrong with his neck.
46. Oh, but I already have some of these.
I think she's just saying that.
No, it's
I have a very good feeling about this child. I think this is the one
that's what you said about the Vega GT. Remember that rotten car?
Listen, give me back my baby.
Hey,
Just
get your name on it, baby.
Give me back my baby.
Come on. Just give me the... No, give it to me. Give it to me. There's only one way to settle this. Okay? We'll let the baby decide.
Jeez, I can't keep track. I'll just start.
Okay, little guy. Which one of these nice women would you like to be your mom?
Pick me.
No, pick me.
No,
Mommy's
pick
here.
me.
Mommy's
Pick
here.
me.
Come to mommy.
Pick me.
Come to mommy.
No, over here. Jinx. Over here. Getting hot.
Fair's fair, honey. Hey, look! Hey, she left the carriage. Hey, look at this. Come on, we can throw some blankets in there, tell people the baby's sleeping.
I don't think we'll ever have a baby.
So fucked up.
I feel empty.
You are.
Is there a character that you wish that you had come up with where you're something like, ah, crap?
No, I do not want what I do not have. That's what Sinead O'Connor taught me. Mark, go.
Wish I'd come up with a Sinead O'Connor character. Sorry, do you mean like a character that somebody else came up with?
Yeah, if you saw if there another character that you really identified with, or is there something in particular?
Oh, I've been watching a lot of SNL, so there's a bunch of characters on that show. Stefan, who I think is just fantastic. You know, I mean, I see other comics doing stuff all the time. Yeah, I wish I'd come up with that. Yes.
There's a Kids in the Hall sketch coming up, but after
Wait,
that you can see
no,
me
6 by
discussing
6
the show
floor.
Only on the Nerdist channel.
Thank you, Lotta. Thank you. Thank you. Time for dancing is over. Time for sitting is now. Thank you, dear. Marla, you are a fine dancer. All your teachers have spoken very highly of your ability, you know. But as you know, and as you knew when you first came to this school, very few of the dancers here will graduate into the upper academy. Now, each year, I am asked to select one girl who I think will reflect well on this school. And this year, only 2 girls were deemed worthy of that privilege. Yourself and Nicole Roby. Now, yes? Hiya! Oh, hello, Nikki. Sorry I'm late. Nikki, what happened to your face?
I got into another fight.
A fight?
I'm okay, but you should see Daphne. Move it, Marla.
Now, Marla, I know that many of you and your classmates think that Nicole, well, is a pig, but...
No, I am not.
Yes, you
Oh,
are.
no, untrue. No. Great. Snacks.
Yes, snacks.
Ballet and snacks, my 2 passions.
Now, I know that you may think that Nicole is clumsy and without skill, but I must tell you that unless you have the dance in your heart, skill and technique are useless things to a dancer. It's the same with bowling. Exactly. I think what I'm trying to say, Marla, is that I've found you to be too much of a perfectionist. Yes. I know Nicole is flawed, but look at those eyes, Marla. Those eyes have soul. And I can't bear to think that that won't be given a chance. I'm sorry, Marla, but I cannot recommend you for the academy. The spirit of dance is in Nikki.
Sorry, okay.
You know, with a little work, well, you know, with a lot of work, she may go far. But I'm afraid that you were never a dancer. I'm sorry if this news has made you unhappy. The sorrow will pass, trust me.
Extension.
And one more thing.
I'm kidding.
Nicole in the academy, where are your brains, girl? You mean I didn't make it? No, of course not. What the hell am I dying, Dan? The spirit. That's the champion spirit. Oh, God, I need a drink. Oh. Nicole, what about you? Huh? Sure, why the hell not? Give me a belt. I love ballet.
Mrs. Chadwick,
Yes, dear?
may I cry?
Oh, please, go ahead. Weep your eyes out. Cheers to the art form. To ballad.
So I want to talk about the overarching theme of doing the...
Hi, I'm Mark McKinney from the Kids in the Hall. Thanks for watching the Nerdist channel.
Just thinking what to call these things.
Megan, what's going on? Tom practically tore me out of bed.
John, this is Laura. And Laura,
Dude, this is gonna blow your mind when you see all of these different types of buildings that I can put in here now. All the floors and the walls are gonna line up.
Oh, just in case things work out. What do you mean? You like her?
Yeah, she seems nice. Why?
Why? Happiness, my boy. Happiness from this
One
day forward.
beam, one block, two beam, two block, four beam, four block, one beam, one full, filled.
Isn't she funny?
Oh, God. What do you comedians want to drink?
For extension,
I'll have a beer.
beam, one.
Did you two get together earlier and work this out?
For extension, filled, one.
And save the labels. We did.
It's something couples do.
Well, we're not a couple.
Yeah.
Wait till you see the picture.
Yeah, I'm gonna test this in just a minute. That's why I'm filling this out, so it's all in my building recipes, so I can just go in there and see if I can build some houses with the props that I have. Basically, the entire medieval village kit now, I can build in-game instead of editor.
Speaking of Greece before Miami?
For a second, but...
And now you're finally together. What do you mean finally together?
Yeah. I mean, she could be anyone. Uh-oh. What? First
I'm not
fight.
following this. I'm not following this.
More speed, better entertainment, bigger value. Introducing new Xfinity packages designed just for you and for saving. Faster internet included. Netflix included. And save even more by adding Xfinity Mobile. It's more of what you want. All for a value that's simple, easy, awesome. See which new package is right for you. Click, call, or visit an Xfinity store today.
Hey there, I'm Mark McKinney. I'll be discussing Kids in the Hall with Chris Hardwick in a few minutes. But first, that sketch you clicked on.
That was quite a meal there, Tom. Hanging a bus a
I hope I didn't overdo it with the spices.
No, but I'll tell you, I bet I pay for it later, though. You don't mind, do you? Let that whale out.
Honey, please, but you're not...
Oh, come on, jeez. Politeness is for strangers on a train.
Oh, that's true.
Not for old friends. God, how long we known you guys, anyways?
Oh,
gosh, it must be,
9 years. If you include the year and a half that Tom spent in the coma.
The salad years, huh?
9 years. Jeez, that's a long time, eh? God, I bet you guys wouldn't even mind if I, hike my pants down a little now, would you?
Oh, make yourself at home now.
Honey, Nina, would you loosen up, please, okay? This is the Peaks here, our oldest friends in the world. I mean, you guys wouldn't even mind if I did a little dance, would you? A little bit of a dance, eh? Hey, whoa, jeez!
Oh, you're so right.
Geez,
pal.
that's the thing about old friends, is they understand everything. You know, they know you inside out, you know?
Yeah.
They don't care what you do.
Hey, Kitty here. You're about to watch me in a sketch from Kids in the Hall. But keep watching.
Yeah.
The sketch here on the Nerd.
Walls.
Let's review the
This
wine
doorway.
This is the California Cabernet. No. No? All right, then that must be the Burgundy, and that
Button
is
6
the
by
German.
6.
All right, then that must be the Chablis. No. No? Well, I think we can find our way down that road on loan now. Thank you very much. Isn't this exciting? You know, normally I just order the one bottle, but when I saw how many wines they had by the glass, I thought, why not have an adventure? So here we are. Here, try this one. That's the Chablis. No. Oh, thank you. How is it?
It's all right.
It's all right. So, let's look at the menu, shall we? Oh my. Prices of this food isn't exactly in the cheap zone, is it? Oh, don't worry. I'm not a tightwad, if that's what you're thinking. Money is no object with me. I don't have any. Just a little joke. Jokes, what do people see in them?
Maybe I'll have fish.
Ah, so we're going to feast on our cousin from the sea. How exciting. You know, I think our blind date is going quite well, don't you?
It's all right.
It's all right. Your friend Lenora confided in me that you're on the rebound, and... Oops. Sorry, wrong topic of conversation. You know what? She also told me that you're a temporary secretary.
Oh, my God.
You look alarmed. Is it because you find something alarming?
I see someone that I don't want to talk to right now.
Don't want to talk to, eh?
Exactly.
Well, you know, Amanda, you can't talk to someone if you don't speak their language. Just follow me. Amanda, cuando yo fui en México, no fui muy contento con los pueblos. ¿Y tú, Amanda? How am I doing?
Well, he heard you.
Hi.
Oh, hello.
Nope, just updates. Ugh, I hate that.
We're on a date as well, and I don't know about you, but our date is going quite nicely.
I missed your body.
Won't take you long to find a new friend.
My radar tells me that you two are more than just friends. Am I right?
It was a long time ago.
9 days.
Well, the world was built in 6 days, and that was without the benefit of power tools.
Maybe I could call you later?
Excuse me, I made a little joke there. Shall I back that up and try again? My cousin Neve loves my sense of humor. He finds it funny.
I don't think so. It's almost completely out of the question.
Are you sure? We'll stop by later for coffee.
Excuse me, sir. I think you might want to corral that roaming hand of yours. I think the lady is trying to tell you that you're barking up the wrong tree.
Butt out, Pinhead.
And I find that very insulting. I happen to know several pinheads, and they're fully functioning members of society. So there.
Baby, don't make me sleep with her. No.
You know, Amanda, I don't like to judge, but I think your friend is pretty immature.
Daryl.
Daryl? Daryl.
I think we need to talk tonight, my friend and I.
Oh. All right, I see. You two are wanting to sort out your emotional baggage, as it were?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right, Amanda, you're a big girl. I just hope that this doesn't interfere with our... Oh, you're off now, are you? Well, I guess our much-anticipated first kiss will have to wait.
I guess so.
Yeah, well, it'd be all that sweeter with the waiting, as my grandmother used to say.
Yes.
Don't worry, I'll get the check. Ah, I see you're enjoying the Chablis.
Wrong.
Where did Daryl come from?
We were all living in New York, and we all had apartments, and on Sundays afternoons, Kevin and I are football fans, we would get together and watch. But his girlfriend was down for the weekend, so we were going to do football as usual. But he wanted me out, you know, as soon as the game was done. And I sensed this, so I started stalling at the door, you know. And this character of Drill came out. So, did you really make those corn puffs? Did you make those fresh? Oh, they came out with a bag. Really, you know, just flattering them and complimenting them on how great the game was and how comfortable, just everything I could think about, and you know, while being endlessly obnoxious, and that became Darryl. So,
what character survived the most sketches?
Darryl was a very hard-working character.
Okay, let's try this.
That never.
You ready,
never really
dude?
had a hit.
And yeah, because he would say, like, we'd be doing a tour, and he'd say, "Well, what about Darryl?" And we go, "Yeah, let's put that over on this side of the board."
Yeah.
You know, like Chicken Lady. We all enjoyed him, but he was almost like Cabbage Head. He was so in his own world that there wasn't that much to do with him. I don't know.
Yeah, it's an oddball character, and I think maybe the most successful one is the Improv Band. That was actually the most like him,
right?
Where he just assumes that everybody thinks the same thing, and they gaze off in the middle distance.
They see
and
the
start
tiny
daydreaming.
Oompa Band.
Yeah, they see the tiny Oompa.
But I will say one thing: that character is a bit like Mark, because Mark is a bit. You could be having a thing, and then he'll just go, "I got it," and then he'll say what 4 people just said 3 minutes ago, or he'll have just like such a silly take on the thing, and it's like, where were you? And I think that Darryl is 35% Mark.
All right.
Here's a sketch from Kids in the Hall.
Whoa.
Hear how sketches like these came together. Keep watching for an exclusive Nerdist Channel interview.
By 12.
Father, may I break the silence?
Impetuous youth. You already have. Continue.
I am almost too excited to eat. I want my gifts.
Eat first. Greed is
Let me go somewhere where this will look cool by itself.
Besides, your mother has been slaving all day over a hot inoculator.
Wait a second.
Well, I hope all this breaking of the silence hasn't spoiled.
Why is the mouse wheel not working?
No, this is going to be the best Bellini
Oh,
day ever.
interesting.
Come, family. Let us say prayers.
Something about build menu being active. Oh, it must not have been when I successfully built something. Well, let me just test this. Yeah, it's not turning off build menu open.
We do not speak because Bellini never spoke.
Is that why, too, after a shower we wear a towel?
Oh no. Young boy who one day will become a man. After a shower, we wear a towel because we are wet.
But Bellini wore a towel.
Yes, he wore it with gusto.
This is like absurdity of these skits. I'm just like, what the fuck?
I want my gifts. I want my Bellini day gifts. I want my defibrillator.
What was it? Okay, mouse zoom network. Okay, yeah.
Caroling disco tunes of Earth.
Yes, but
did I not drink Bellini's favorite beverage for breakfast? Buttermilk?
Yes. Now sit down and eat of the traditional trout.
No.
Yes, I made a very fine trout gravy this year, young man.
No, I want my gift. Gimme, 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 gimme.
Go back to the vacuum chamber and drink cooking sherry. I will handle this.
I had to close the menu for it to work again. Alright, let's just go. Let's go in the mountains somewhere.
You have learned many things.
Yes, I have learned how to travel through my girlfriend's bloodstream on a small raft and stop and sleep in her heart.
See how I changed it so it no longer leans ridiculously to the left or right? I just had to, that's why I did this, to figure out which angle is which. It's very backwards to what the description said. But yeah, I should go up to this hill. Have like an epic. Or maybe I should just build like a nice little flat area here.
In the old days, when people still put ice in their drinks and believed in someone named God?
I know it sounds ridiculous, but there was a time when people were so stupid they believed in a man called God.
It's hard to imagine people actually being that stupid.
Oh, they must have been incredibly stupid.
Stupid.
But in that time, there walked upon the earth a man named Bellini, who lived in a one-bedroom apartment. Bellini walked around smiling, and he loved elevator music. Now, One day, as he was walking to the store to get a jar of buttermilk, he paused to gaze at the majesty of an empty parking lot and looked up to see a rock falling.
But rocks fall so slowly.
Well, they fell faster then. Gravity was better.
Did Bellini move out of the way? Or did he scuttle hurried?
No. Bellini just stood there.
I would have scuttled hurried.
Yes. But you were not Bellini.
Sadly.
Yes. You see, too
Well,
much or to wear a watch would
ain't
have
that a
been foreign
bitch?
to Bellini. Thusly, he was struck.
It doesn't have the door frame. I think I need to add door frame.
No, we bury people standing up because we've run out of room. But you must understand that in that parking lot where Bellini died, a buttermilk tree sprouted. They cut it down because it was a parking lot, but what Bellini taught us that day by being crushed by a large rock was to find beauty in the banal, for it is everywhere.
Wow. Bellini was a prophet.
And God was a ridiculous, stupid sham.
I took Bellini for granted.
According to the book, so did his landlord.
Now, do you still want to open your gifts? Scuttle hurried the way Bellini never would?
No, Mother, I now understand the true meaning of Bellini Day.
Well, let us now poke Bellini.
Technically, it works. I just need to make a door frame a thing, so make it so doors can snap into it. I did want to see if it fit correctly.
Was Bellini actually the guy
The outside of the door.
with no shirt?
Yeah, well, that was.
That looks pretty good.
No, but Scott had been in the baths in Toronto with Paul, being two gay gentlemen.
Why not?
Yes. And Scott had seen the specter of Bellini in a towel.
So we have to put this on the show.
So he
Snapping
watched Paul
point does
walk
stick
around
out the door
in Toronto
a little bit, but it would look good if I just scale it, or I was thinking of making a scaling option.
We started with the touch Bellini,
which was Mark's idea. I remember it was Mark's idea. That's the one that season 2 we worked hard in being a little Pythonish, thinking of segues for each episode, and we sort of dropped that by season 3.
Yeah.
And I remember we had all the cards on the board, and then Mark thought of the touch Bellini through line.
Yeah.
Touch Bellini with a stick.
And then he would just show up in sketches, and people just knew.
Because of the thing.
Yeah.
And Bellini was like Scott's writing partner. You would hear them in their cubicle. Scott would come up with an idea, and you hear Paul go, "No, Thompson, that's shit." And then, Scott would think of a joke, and then Paul would disagree, and you hear Scott go, "You know what, Paul, you're fat. You're fat. So the joke goes in.
That was the justification. You're fat, so the joke goes.
The joke goes in.
Damn it! I can't argue that point.
That's what he said. It's airtight.
Yeah.
I can't argue that. You're about to watch an arguably classic sketch from the Kids in the Hall. After that, we'll be talking about the show with Mr. Chris Hardwick.
Hey, out you go. Shooters! No shooters tonight. Out you go. No shooters tonight. No shooters any night. Buddies is closing for good. Shooters! Bye, old timer.
Oh, I need to make a snapping point on these ceilings before I can really go crazy with that. But for now, I can just, well, let me not do that for now. I'll put the snapping point, and I'll fix that hammer thing.
So I said take the bar instead. And they did.
I need to put the door frame in there too. The door is from, wait a second, is this door?
The new owner is going to turn into a straight bar with strippers. And he's a fag. Ever since I quit smoking, I've had a renewed interest in
Sure, why not?
drew me into comedy was probably like a lot of other people. I was a class clown, you know, with low grades through most of high school. And I tried stand-up when I was 17 or 18. Didn't have much luck at that. Then after flunking out of the University of Newfoundland, which if you're Canadian is hugely funny, I stumbled into a theater in Calgary called the Loose Moose, which was an improv comedy-based theater run by a guy named Keith Johnston. And it was literally a situation where I walked in 1 week, saw the show, and the next week I was on stage. It was that sort of open.
I think I found comedy more out of it was just a place I could take my weird brain. Like, what about 30 Helens in a field? I didn't grow up on comedy, so I guess I had no comedy influences. Except Hee Haw, which was an excellent show, especially when they saluted that small town every week.
I was the funny guy in my group of friends, and actually was on a bus ride to school one day with my friend Evelyn Chapea, and she suggested one day, she said, you know, you should do stand-up. And I never thought about it. I went, that'd be interesting. I should see if I can write that.
In grade 6, I lost 60% of my hearing, and so I fell a lot. And I got lots of laughs. I was an altar boy in Catholic Churchville. I remember once I was carrying the cross up Mass, and I had to stop for a second, and I fell. And the whole congregation laughed, and afterwards Father Larry said, don't you ever get a laugh in church. I know you're the funny one. And then I thought, well, maybe I am the funny one.
It was just, I think, growing up the way I did. In order to get yourself noticed, you had to be funny. And I was by no means the funniest of my brothers. My oldest brother was way funnier than me, but probably not as damaged, which makes me a comedian rather than just a funny person, you know? And next life, I just want to be a funny person who does something else, like a blacksmith who's funny on the side.
My first comedy troupe was called The Audience. It actually evolved out of another comedy troupe I was in. It was just me and one guy, so I don't know if that's officially a troupe.
I was taking journalism and public relations at Mount Royal Community College, not to name drop, and I sort of wandered into theater sports, which is improv comedy, and there I found, you know, first Mark and a few other guys who were the core of the audience, and they were like old hands at it. They'd been at it like 7 months. And that, I sort of worked my way into that group somehow. I'm not sure. I think because I had a Toyota Corolla and I would drive us around.
At the Loose Moose Theater in Calgary, where Bruce and I were, they had these tournaments for theater sports, which is sort of competitive improvisation, invented by Keith Johnstone, the guy who ran theater sports, the Loose Moose in Calgary.
That was essentially our first group.
I am
we
back.
Sort of formed there out of improv comedy, and then we eventually, like, if you stay, our show's free.
We started doing a show to like 6 people, but within a year and a half it was selling out, and we'd done a big show at the university, and sort of like we'd done Calgary at that point.
So Dave and I and a funny guy named Luciano Casimiri was we were in a theater sports group called The Kids in the Hall.
And for about a year, we started hearing sort of through the theater sports grapevine, which I think they've finally gotten rid of. I think that grapevine's been removed. But that there was this group in Calgary that was a lot like us, and they kept hearing, oh yeah, there's these guys in Toronto that you'd really like. You guys would really, you know, dig these guys.
We sort of like circled each other warily for a little bit, but it became clear that we sort of had similar anti-establishment tastes, and we started hanging out and started doing shows like doubling on bills at these late night shows that were happening all over Toronto that were drawing 9 people.
They did their set, we did our set, and at the end of the night we sort of said, hey, we should do stuff together. And we formed this big group of like 7 guys.
They were the bosses at first, and and then things sort of evened out, and we called ourselves the Kids in the Hall because we thought that was a better name in the audience, because we thought that was a little pretentious, but we didn't. What do we know? And that's the story so far.
Mark was the one who brought me in. He liked me, and he saw me. I think it was, I did this in improv one night that was just way beyond the pale. That wasn't really funny, but I think it was quite extreme.
And I remember kind of arriving to watch theater sports one night and being kind of frustrated, and there was this guy on stage who was doing this insane scene. I mean, I can't even remember the context of it, but just at one point he reached into an imaginary toilet and pulled out, you know, some feces, like this is all improv mimed, of course, this isn't real, and said, you know, started screaming about it and got the 0. And then was angry at the judge. And I thought, now that's my type of performer.
I saw them, the original kids, which was the 4, and also Frank Van Keeken, Gary Campbell, Luciano Casimiri, and there was a woman at the time, Sandra Seamus. And they were performing, and that was it. It was a midnight show at a place called the Poor Alex. My friend Darlene Harrison brought me, and the moment they started performing, I was like a light went on, and I went, that's what I want to do.
It was more a social thing. It was almost like a floor hockey team that, you know, some people would show up this week, some people wouldn't. They'd get jobs, and there was other people, you know, Mike Myers at the periphery of it, and other friends of ours, you know, even Harlan Williams came and did the odd little thing or whatever. And it was kind of, it was that weird thing. It's like we looked up and it was just the five of us.
The Rivoli was the club in Toronto on Queen Street where we sort of set up as a troupe.
It was kind of an eclectic place, so it wasn't what you sometimes think about mainstream comedy. There would be people who would come, and we'd have sort of unlikely characters who were essentially kind of our core audience find us right away, and a few, but often you'd look up and some guy would be like necking with his, you know, assistant in the back because they stumbled in there because they're having an affair.
We started performing at the Rivoli, this rock club on Queen Street, which really had not done comedy, and we started doing them on Monday nights. Every 2 weeks we'd do shows.
And the shows were sort of, you know, not getting a great following. Sometimes we were playing to like 5-10 people in the house.
And Andre and David, the owners of the Rivoli, for some reason let us keep it for the first year and a half, in which we drew practically nobody. You know, February in Toronto on a Monday night is not a great time for doing comedy, but that's where we sort of like, you know, got our screw you attitude.
So we sort of plugged away there for a long time, and actually, you know, sometimes it was really good and sometimes it was terrible. After a long time of going, should we even do this? Is this even working? Like, come on, one more time, guys.
You know, our shows were mostly at the beginning just friends and people, you know, fanatics and drunks and people that had nowhere to go, like us. It just kept growing and growing.
We were very aggressive about sort of like advertising it. And I remember once thinking it was a really good idea to put a chain around Kevin's neck and have him and sort of lead him up and down the street in front of the Rivoli. But then, of course, you know, I forgot him for a second, and I think I left him chained up, and he started getting accosted by sort of like some street people.
That was the petting zoo show, we called it. I think that was the week we decided that was our theme, the petting zoo show. And they set up like a little barrier thing and had Kevin on a chain and trying to get people to come and see the show. I don't know if it worked.
I remember, Bruce, if you were doing a scene with him that had something to do with the table, and you weren't being as funny as you should have been, he'd kick you he'd kick you in the leg or hit you in the arm to try to get you to be funnier. But you'd like by fear.
Scott always seemed to be injuring himself at the Rivoli. I remember once as a dramatic gesture, he pounded the stage wall and put his hand through a nail.
Scott was supposed to be doing a monologue, and during the monologue, he's supposed to go into a sort of a Macbeth thing, out spot and all that.
And I put my hand right, there was a rusty nail coming out of the wall, because the Rivoli was a very crappy club.
And we're all backstage, and all of a sudden we just hear, oh fuck, my fucking hand, oh it's bleeding, all the blood.
But I didn't stop, I didn't miss a beat, and I continued holding the hand while the blood poured out.
And he goes on and on and on, and finally one of us goes out from backstage and looks and goes, oh, he's fucking bleeding. He's just blood coming out of him.
They thought it was kind of cool, I think, but that's the way I interpret. They probably were freaked. And then I ended up holding the hand up above my head to watch the blood all drip down. I was like a performance artist, except it was funny. And I had a death throw, and I fell to the ground or whatever, and I got to smear my own real blood all over myself, which I thought was very dramatic.
I guess the Rivoli sort of gelled for us at one point. We were doing entirely new sketches every week, which
I just need to add those snapping points onto the wall parts. There's a lot of them to move them up.
Or we do a lot of improvs.
Oh wait, I need to add some.
Like-minded people are going to find you and check out your work. But of course, it takes a long time.
I guess I could just add more. Shouldn't matter.
You know, and people ultimately come.
And we really were discovered in a very kind of a classic showbiz way.
I saw them first at the Rivoli on Queen Street in Toronto, and I'm trying to remember exactly when, but it would be before I came back to Saturday Night Live in '85.
We actually had done a show, and I think it was kind of
Can I just duplicate
that
these?
got quite good reviews and good response. And Pam Thomas at the time, I was at the theater, phoned up and said, "Would you guys be interested in Saturday Night Live?" And I was kind of probably cooler then than I am now. It's like,
Oh, I
yeah,
can't
maybe
just
I'm
copy their
down, I
locations.
guess. We're kind of sold out.
What happened to duplicating?
And so she came down with Yvonne Fitzanne, who was then working at NBC and later went on to run CBC. And they came down and scouted us.
We auditioned for Saturday Night Live. I think made a good impression because we were offered jobs as apprentice writers.
We thought, actually, that that it was over for the troupe, because Mark and Bruce were hired as writers for Saturday Night Live, and they went to New York, and the three of us, Scott, Dave, and me, stayed behind and tried to carry on the Kids in the Hall. We had like guest people come in. It was the three of us with various guests.
And then I got asked to join Second City, and then Kevin and Dave. Dave made a movie, and then Kevin came to Second City. So we were split up.
Being guys, we didn't really talk about like our feelings or what was going on or whatever. And I know that it was terrible for the other three in a sense.
And so we all suddenly had these lives in show business. But to our credit, we got back together at every opportunity. At every break, we went to the Rivoli. And because time was now suddenly constricted, we wrote some of our best material in these frantic jam sessions where we, Bruce and I would come back on a Monday. We'd write for 2 or 3 days with the rest of the guys and then do a show. For
me, I became more committed to the troupe because I saw that the minds that I connected with the most were the guys I was already working with. They weren't, as a young person, you always think it's somewhere else. And then as you get older, you realize, no, it is actually from my hometown, And so, but it was a very hard time. It was a very hard time that year into the next year.
Probably don't need these.
Kind of came and saw us
Just the
and said,
corners.
We should do a, show.
But maybe I should
whatever.
just put those.
Their talent more than deserved to be shown off.
After that night, I guess he thought about it and decided that instead of bringing Mark and Bruce back to SNL or any of the others of us, that he wanted to develop a show for us as a group. That he wanted to keep the troupe together.
I think we did a lot of showcases, a lot of showcases for HBO at that point. And out of that, it was we were going to go to New York for a while.
Lauren had a really inspired idea, actually, now that I look back on it, which was to take the Kids in the Hall out of Toronto and bring them to New York to work on the special.
Lauren was like, Toronto's one thing, but New York is the real deal.
It was a perfect time for me to go to New York. I had just broken up with someone, and I had run out of money, and I was about to get a normal job. And I was spiritually ready to focus on the writing.
We were doing shows at Caroline's at the Seaport, which was a stand-up venue, which was a really weird place for us because it was like a stand-up venue that mostly attracted, Wall Street guys. And then we were also doing the West Bank Cafe, which was more gritty and more like us.
We worked at Broadway Video, which is located in the Brill Building, it's the famous old music building in downtown New York.
We'd go up the elevator with Martin Scorsese and his little dogs and go, that's Martin Scorsese. And then someone else would go, and his dogs.
It was crazy. New York was really bad then, dirty and crack-infested. And for me, too, it was at the height of the AIDS epidemic, so I found it scary as hell. I mean, I remember my first time going to my apartment in Alphabet City, walking by all the homeless guys building with fires and all the garbage cans. And I remember I first going to the gay bars, and it was like a ghost town. I thought, oh my God, it's a plague. It's disastrous. So I didn't have any sex in New York, but that's why I partied so much. I know you weren't interested in that. No one is, but fans are.
Torontonian's dream is to be in New York, if you're in the arts. So for us, just being in New York was super cool. New York was like a fantasy land.
The way New York treats new arrivals, if they're any good, is that they start to get a following, and we did, in very short order. Had people sort of interested in us, and a writer from Rolling Stone pitched us and got an article written. So we were kind of internationalized by the experience, let's just say.
We were in the What's Hot issue of Rolling Stone as the hot comedy act to watch that year. And this is before we'd ever been on TV, and the only place we'd performed was to like small crowds that hated us at Caroline's.
and small crowds that kind of liked us at the West Bank.
That article launched us because in Canada, you're nothing until the Americans notice you. And once we had that big Rolling Stone story, that was it.
We'd go to these shows and meet Eric Bogosian and Reno and all these other sort of New York people. So it was kind of inspiring to be there, and I think it had an influence on the way the HBO thing turned out.
This is a good time for us. We've got the HBO commitment. We've got the CBC commitment. I've got $200 in my shoe. It's a good time for us.
Well, we returned to Toronto to shoot the actual pilot.
We'd pretty much been advanced all of our payment for the special while we were living in New York. So I remember when we got to Toronto, by the time we were actually going to shoot
There we go.
the special, I didn't have enough money. I didn't have bus fare to get to the studio. I had to go out and like hawk my guitar.
I remember the first time we went to shoot the Crushing Your Head segment, and our director Robert Boyd asked for a dolly so that he could do a nice, dolly shot, and they sent a wheelchair.
No, it didn't copy it.
And I think we drove our costume and makeup people crazy because we were really still sort of like an unrefined, club act and kind of bratty.
The idea was, and later we did this for the TV show, is that we were going to tape the whole show twice, 2 different audiences. And I remember taping the first show. It was horrible.
We went and met with Lauren between shows, and he just lit into us.
It sucks. You can't
Basically,
just
he told us we suck.
And
press
goes,
Alt
I'm not
and
going to give notes because the whole thing was awful.
drag it up and then change
the
it.
whole thing really stunk, and that was bad. And we got to get this one, boys, or there won't be any TV show.
I think we all liked it. We thought our special looked pretty good, but it was more than anything marked with like the big ugly weight.
Nothing ever happens really fast. That's the weird thing. Everything happens at such a rate that by the time it actually happens, you're so frustrated with getting there that it all seems normal. That's how show business works. You never actually get a moment of excitement. I think we had the first moment of excitement when we heard we were going to get to make a show.
And then there was a phone call. Someone said, Mark, there's a phone for you. Whenever brought me video phone, there was always Mark that, because he was the guy that could talk. He went to better schools. And so Mark would go, and we were rehearsing a scene, and Mark came back, and he said, we have a show.
And my memory was actually Lauren calling us and going, they, like it, and, some more, hard work, condensed time, congratulations. So it was sort of, that's how I remember it. I'm sure everybody else has different things. Like I got the call because I didn't go and smoke between my scenes like Scott and Mark.
I don't remember when or who told me. Do they remember?
I think it was our manager, Ralph Zimmerman, who told us, or something like that, or Joe Forrestal. But we were really kind of shocked. It was suddenly a much bigger proposition.
I guess the copy paste individually isn't too big a waste of time.
That they were picking up the series, and that they were picking it up for a full order of 22 episodes. And I think that was when we all like sat there and just stared at each other and thought, that was one moment. That's the only moment I can think of, really, where it was just so beyond what we were anticipating.
I was thrilled I could quit my security guard job. That was my first thought.
Well, no, not first we need to get drunk. Then we need to wake up, eat a cheeseburger, and start hiring people.
But it was just incredibly exciting. All we did was work, but it didn't seem like work. I mean, it was all we got. What we got to just write whatever we wanted.
I think in our first year we had tremendous freedom, much more freedom than we could have ever gotten, because we were under the umbrella of Lorne Michaels, which I think gave us a real huge, like a free pass.
I think my role was paternal. I think that the show, The Kids in the Hall, it had a look, a style, and a feel to it that was just that. It was just their show.
During the writing process, and like I said, it happened.
Dad just came over here been using a drill, and he was like, "Well, no power to." I was like, "That's my toothbrush." Yeah, you wrote using a drill, and I was like, "What the fuck?" You're using a power tool.
We did it for 5 years. The rest would be history if it were more important.
Hey, everybody. Don't panic.
I mean, I'm only crushing your head.
Oh
I
God.
guess when I was a kid, I was always interested in this perspective, you know, of thinking how much of the world I could cram into my thumb and forefinger. But then years later, Kevin McDonald and I, we were in like one of those new yuffie cafe bars, you know, and everyone was very neat and well dressed. And the mood of the moment was that we were feeling very poor and unloved as sketch comedians at the Rivoli who were playing to 9 people. So I started crushing people's heads, you know, in front of Kevin. Look, and he said, I'll take care of these yuppies for you. I'm crushing your head, I'm crushing your head, I'm crushing your head.
Hey, you know what you are? You're a yuppie. That's right. I just made that word up. It's my word. And I'm crushing your head.
Did they make up yuppies?
Wish.
No one thought that it was going to be a hit. I remember, you know, when we read it at the read-through, even Lauren just went, that's interesting.
By far the thing we were most known for. Because after our first season, wherever we went, it was, I'm crushing your head, I'm crushing your head. It really was, that was number one. That was the thing that, in fact, to this day, when people recognize me, they do this.
Well, Cabbage Head was one of the only things we wrote in New York in what I like to call the terrible year, which was only 5 months, by the way. And I thought Cabbage Head was a feminist statement because I was sort of bowled over by the fact that my beautiful girlfriend at the time, who is somebody else's beautiful girlfriend now, couldn't go out for dinner without a guy hitting on her.
So, what's the word on that, good night nookie?
I don't think so.
I had a bad
Since like hippie was a derogatory term for like politically active young degenerate, if you will, then yuppie is the reverse of hippie. How to insult squares, basically. If you're a square, you know what I mean?
Guys can kind of do that. They can go, oh, so, you know, they make women feel guilty. So that was the kernel of it, and it became, you know, Cabbage Head, and he became kind of a dirty, you know, he certainly
Control
exorcised
W. I could try maybe.
The character I sort of remember enjoy doing the most was with Dave. Totally nobody likes us guys, and basically Dave does it really well. I mean, I always have trouble getting my frown. I remember before every take I do this, and Dave just does it naturally. He just has a very funny frowny face, and nobody likes us. And it was fun to do, and I remember how we thought of it. It was that we were on an airplane doing some tour or something, going somewhere, and the flight attendant kept ignoring us. And like purposely ignoring us. We were wearing jeans or something, I don't know.
Man, it's from a bygone time.
Like us. And so the 4th time she passes, and Dave turned to me and did the face with, nobody likes us. And I laughed, and then I spritzed back. And then before too long, Mr. Boring and me, I have pad of paper, and I'm writing this out.
Nobody likes us. Waiter, check please.
So the first thing I ever did was the Buddy Cole voice.
People make fun of me because I lisp. Really? Such a lot of fuss over a few extra S's.
I was dating this guy at the time who was very effeminate, and I was the first kind of really effeminate guy that I'd been attracted to because he had like a lot of real energy and juice. And so that's why Buddy became, because Buddy's an effeminate character, but he's also ballsy. I don't know if that's possible. Like he's kind of like a macho queen. That's how I see him, or an alpha fag.
You know that feeling you get when you don't know whether it's gonna be a shit or a fart, but you let her rip anyway?
I did a character called a blues guy. Now, I wasn't really sort of basing this on someone in particular, but then I remembered, yeah, I probably was. When I was at the University of Newfoundland, albeit briefly.
Wait, you know what might be faster? I just...
Work, I hung out at the student radio station and got
There's no point in duplicating them individually.
Popping wide open. I gotta call up a friend and say, buddy, get on over here. Shut my eyes for me. I got the blues.
I would often do a monologue where I would start as the blues guy and
This
admit that I was from Ottawa, Canada, and had
and
no idea
do.
or no right to be doing what I was doing.
Kathy, the secretary, which you know, I could kind of do a thing with her every week.
Paste.
Well, maybe I'm just a priss or something.
Copy.
But I think all your ex-lovers should fit on a bus.
Paste.
Not that you'd ever want to be on that bus.
Oh, God, no.
Well, the Geralds were just, you know, Bruce and we had a sort of a take on businessmen as being very narrow, linear, blinkered kind of people who needed to negotiate.
I'm not losing track of which one.
Everything.
Gerald.
Last three.
Jerry. Jerry. Good. Why don't we forget the guaranteed sexual intercourse clause?
Okay.
Why don't we let nature take its course?
Fine.
You know, the good old-fashioned way?
Yeah, okay.
A one-date schedule with a guarantee that your client will consume 27 ounces of gin on that evening.
Cause of Cancer was kind of a fantasy piece where we find out that the cause is Bruce, that Bruce has been causing all the cancer.
I'm sorry I caused all that cancer.
I chastise him and make him promise not to do it anymore, and therefore there's not going to be any more cancer. And for us, it's like a fantasy, it's like a happy fantasy that if only, you know, this is how we can get rid of this nightmare.
I'm sorry I caused all that throat cancer and all that bowel cancer. I was just on a roll. And I won't do it again.
And nothing to do with making fun of cancer.
The funny part about Naked, when we did the Naked for Jesus sketch, I guess you call it. Never we call it sketch. We just went out there and did it one day, and we're in Toronto, and we put up a little Naked for Jesus mural, and we painted it, and nobody complained, and it was there for about 3 years. And that's, well, Naked for Jesus, that's an interesting art piece in the middle of Toronto, which, you know, is more about how great perhaps Toronto was then. It was hard to get it on the air, and we had to get it in such a truncated, you know, something covering our genitals version.
And now, the Dr. Seuss Bible.
Like Seuss Bible wasn't, for me it was about, to me it was sort of a perversion of religion, which was like the religious Archie comics. And you know, the fact that they tried to create like pop culture, like ways of indoctrinating children into Christianity, you know, using like Archie comics and that. So that's how the idea for Seuss Bible came around. I said, well, what if they did, you know, got Dr. Seuss to write, you know, Bible verses for kids to, you know, get them really young, and also this was a time when fundamentalists.
Yeah, dude, they are like your nation's pride and joy in comedy from the 90s. Dude, this was my favorite TV shows growing up. This was like my version of like, you know, Whitest Kids You Know, all that kind of shit.
What shall we do with a suppity Jew?
We could wash him in wine and make him all clean and into Sam Zittle's crucifixion machine.
Jesus
Telling the
Christ.
story of the Bible, because we're very religious, the five of us. But Dr. Seuss first. Did HBO show it? At first, they were going to show it, and their notes were, I remember that the nails going in, Scott played Jesus, and not the nails going in Jesus' hand went on too long and looked too painful, which it did, because we wanted, and our thought to Scott was always play it straight, like really be in pain because you're being crucified, and it'll be funnier because we're in Dr. Seuss costumes.
So the comic part was that my Jesus was screaming bloody murder. So that was
I'd have no clue. I think I would remember if I did.
pain. And so we thought it was very funny to see the nails go in. Jesus go, oh, fuck. You know, that's funny, I think. But they thought that was too graphic.
The CBC carpenters wouldn't build the crucifixion machine. And so they had to bring in people in the middle of the night to build the crucifixion machine.
We always had censorship battles, always, always. And they were always about sex or religion.
Amen. Bruce McCullough, ladies and gentlemen. Bruce McCullough.
My first memory of Bruce is just having a knockdown, drag-out fight with him way back in Calgary when I tried to bring a pianist to accompany some sort of comedy piece I was doing, and suddenly this voice came out of the dark at the back of the theater going, "What the fuck are you doing?" and that kind of established our relationship for like a long,
long time.
And he's very tactile, very touchy. He was always stroking, saying, "Hey, sweetie, how you doing?" And I you know, I at first really did think he was gay and was hitting on me.
He had the best ideas. And I think with me, he got to explore. I learned how to be a better writer, and I think he learned how to be a better actor.
To me, he's such a great writer that I would sort of be too afraid to suggest anything or add anything, and I would sort of agree with everything that he said, because I think I was sort of intimidated by him.
He was incredibly adversarial, but a lot of respect. I really responded to his energy. He's got kind of an animal energy, which I like, which I kind of have myself.
We fought a lot and had big arguments, but of course, as life is, you know, we're also really close now.
But I think we're really good friends now. We have a friendship chemistry, and we have fun hanging out and giving each other advice, maybe him more to me.
I'm not really a gorilla. I'm just actor-comedian Kevin McDonald.
Well, we've always said that Kevin is, without question, the funniest of all of us. And he's, you know, if you go out with Kevin, it's like he goes, you know, I'd like a bun, please, with some butter. Oh, not too much butter. And everybody's laughing. And it's like, I just ordered a bun with butter.
Kevin just has to be on the stage and you're laughing. He doesn't have to do anything.
Kevin and I were like a vaudeville team. You know, we worked together so long. I mean, I started working with Kevin when I was 19, and our rhythms are so in sync.
Kevin in the troupe is the one writer that I think everyone wants to write with. It's kind of like, in a way, he's kind of the heart of the troupe. He's the one that you want to be writing with when you have an idea that is not quite there, and you need positive reinforcement and encouragement to get it there.
Everybody wants to write with Kevin because he's so into it, and he's so fun, and his ideas are good, and almost more importantly, your ideas.
Oh, Kids in the Hall.
He's just so excited to be there that you'll come up with better stuff.
They have some really classic skits.
Say no to an idea.
I feel like I should just want to watch some more skits.
Indeed.
I'm not sure if I just played this one or not, but I love this one.
Hi, I'm Kevin McDonald, and you're watching The Kids in the Hall on the Nerdist channel.
HA1.5? What's that?
Got a big day ahead of me.
Half-Life?
Gotta keep on top of my life. Gotta keep on top of my life. Got 7 things to do. Number 1, banking. Number 2, pick up. Okay, you just knocked over an old lady. Keep moving. You got 7 things to do. Okay, 1 down. I got 6 things to do. Number 2, pick up dry cleaning. Wait a second. I got number 5 where number 7 should be. Number 8, switch number 5 with number 7.
No, wait, this one is stupid.
So, the weather's 50-50.
Here we go, whole episode.
Big charity picnic out on the
Oh.
Yeah, Tom, well, there's definitely a chance of some thundershower activity, and the tornado watch is still in effect until 12 o'clock.
Nice.
Watching for those tornadoes until 12 o'clock.
Okay, yeah, sure, we'll do that. But, Bill, listen, tell me, when are we going to get some of that good weather you promised us?
Well, next weekend looks good, Nina, but I'm not promising anything. I'm not God.
Not God. Well, thanks for letting us know.
That's all for Channel 7 News. For Tom Slater and God, Phil Michelle, I'm Nina Spudniak. Stay tuned for Kids in the Hall coming up next.
You recognize the style of music from this like style I've been playing for the past few days? Surfer 50s beat music, whatever it's called. This is actually surf. It's just called surf rock. Alright, I'll stop at the walls. I'll do the walls that have... Oh, these are just the ones without doors. Oh my god, I have to do all of them. The more you do, the faster you get. It's a system. I have to skip one too. It's crazy because like 7 is the one in the center.
Doctor, we just got the X-rays back.
And then I don't skip one here. So, like the difference in numbers. I get it though. It's a system.
For God's sakes, who's responsible for this IV? It was me. I put it in, but it was solid.
It's true, Doctor. I saw him do it. Maybe the patient moved.
Yeah, he looks real lively, doesn't he? Look, I'm not going to stand for this kind of sloppiness on my shift. Is that understood?
Yes.
Yes, Doctor. All right. Now look at this. There may be some spinal damage.
Actually, there's fewer to copy now. I only need to do one, because I'm not copying those door ones. They're off, totally off center. 1, 2, 4, 3. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay.
Charge me out. Clear. There's water all over the floor. Charge me up again.
He's gone.
Huh?
With own television show.
Yes.
Hi, Jack.
Hi there.
I'm Donovan.
Oh, hi, Donovan. And?
Well, I'm responding to your ad.
My ad? What ad?
Yeah. This one. Gay white man with own television show.
Yes.
Seeks an uncommonly beautiful stud whom he could never have if it weren't for the fact he's a TV star. For 15 reasons.
Well, that sounds like me. But, Donovan, I don't think this is the time or the place.
Why not? Look, in real life, you could never have one, right?
Yeah, that's sadly true.
Well, think of me as a...
Oh, like baseball tickets.
This is easy.
I am uncommonly beautiful. It is evening.
Yes, it is, but it's hardly discreet. Donovan, we're on television.
I know that. What's wrong, stud? Great gay hero with great white people still.
No, I'm not.
To be honest, I'll have to check some of their newer seasons. I haven't even watched most of these.
I'm nervous.
I'm nervous.
We've been trying for about 3 or 4 months now to
Screw it, I'll watch the old ones.
get pregnant.
Yeah, I think this time I feel good about
I do too.
this time.
Yeah, we've been wanting to have kids for quite some time. I think we're ready. Both of us.
Yeah, we're both ready.
Both ready. Ready together. This is it.
This is it.
I can't read it. What does it say?
That's my iPod Shuffle. You peed on my iPod Shuffle. Such a stupid bitch.
That was bad. Why is it whenever I want to show like really clever humor, it ends up being like sexist or awful or something? Alright, 10 by 12. I think this is just the one from before that I copied off of. Alright, these are faster. Yes.
The name is A, and I'm back in command, cause I'm the illest Führer representing Deutschland. Reich 1, Reich 2, Reich 3, that's me, the mastermind behind World War 3. No 2, my bad, oh well, started over, been gone for so long, but now I'm back and I'ma show you everybody Hitler hating when they speak my name. But it's a new millennium, and the Führer is changed. And what I bet y'all didn't know is now I'm down with the Jews, the gypsies, homosexuals, and retards too. Because I stopped burning people, started burning CDs, stopped battling the world, started battling MCs, just started busting rhymes, finally found my groove, and now the SS on my jacket stands for super smooth.
This is a classic though.
Catch on up with the times. When other rappers see me coming, yo, they run and they hide. I grab the mic and commit lyrical genocide. Cause when it comes to dropping hooks, there is none greater. Throw a finger to my public, then I grab my dictator. Cause I'm flexing my might and I'm showing my strength. I'll get your lady O and get her moaning. No longer Nazi, but I still like to party. And there are plenty women up in here with master racy bodies. Blonde hair, blue eyes, you know I like them that way. Yo, go ring, you got something to say? Driving down the street in my Panzer tank, sitting drinking Chris with my bitch and Frank. And when I step into the clubs, you know I'm stepping with style. I raise my left hand, party people say hi. Just got a page from Emma Braun that I'll say that I miss.
Should be worth saying that this is all satire. But it makes me wonder if it really is. But no, some of their other stuff makes it very obvious. But that's the point, it's for people that don't get it.
Got back from the West Coast, so he was visiting our offices out there. You want to fill everybody in on what's going on?
Well, as you know, I just got back from LA and just got
These guys are great.
It's a real chore for me to go out there with the beautiful weather and all the gorgeous women and all. Real chore, man. Ooh, run me over. I'll bet. Anytime. Might have to twist my arm, but...
Oh, gross. Sorry.
Did you just pull shit out of your pants and throw it in the trash?
Well, I thought I felt something back there, so I reached back with my hand, I got it. Sorry.
Let me go to their more advanced adult, less adult humor. Come on. All right. This is so much easier. Almost done with this.
Christmas Eve, 1944. Deep in the bunkers of Nazi Germany, the Yankee troops are closing in on their target, Nazi President Adolf Hitler.
All right, boys, we are one doorway away from being heroes. That is Hitler in there. When we get back home, they're gonna name streets after us. All right, Broadway, Park, Main, let's do this. You got it, First Avenue. It's prime. Hitler, we're coming in to get you, you Jew bastard. No, Main, that's not. Fuck it, whatever.
What in the...
You're under arrest, Hitler. No, don't arrest him. That's Charlie Chaplin.
That's not Charlie Chaplin. It's fucking Hitler.
No, dude, Hitler doesn't have that hat.
See? Hitler doesn't walk like that.
Yeah, but this guy's got the same mustache.
Yeah, but this guy's funny.
Yeah, he is pretty funny.
Charlie Chaplin, what are you doing in this bunker?
Yeah, you shouldn't be in here. This place is dangerous. This? What is he gonna do?
I haven't seen this. I'm kind of curious, like... Oh, this has got to be like... And that's how...
You saved my life again, Charlie Chaplin. I truly am your biggest fan. And I truly am your biggest fan, Adolf Hitler. Best friend.
Tired of the Bible? Got a whole bunch of youngins that need to know their Bible stories? Well, what's a feller to do? Wonder no more, cause now there's Bible Stories with me, Luther B. My 20-part video series is a must-have for any church youth group, vacation Bible school, or even your own rec room. Each Bible story is acted out by yours truly and a cast of professional actors. There's all sorts of Bible stories, like Adam and Eve.
Oh, there's no food in this Garden of Eden. I'm hungry already.
Bye, honey. I gotta go name all the bears today. Don't eat anything.
Oh my God, a snake already. Get away.
Oh, my Jesus. Alright, I'm done with that. No more of that shit. Plus, my cheeks are kind of sore from laughing too much earlier. Not funny anymore. You're with speech impediment. Ah. I need to listen to some of that chill thing.
Tired of lugging around big bags of pet food?
That's not chill. Last one. Wow. If you're still here, WR, you waited long enough. You ready? Oh yeah. What would that be? 12 by... I don't know what, 8? Oops. Shit. Well, I messed it all up. I think I can destroy them for now, but it won't be permanent. Like, let me just save and quit and see. Oh, cool. That does work. Alright. Well, that's in the way. Wonder if I can do... it's there. Well, I could guesstimate it. I can go based on that line. Like, whatever. Wait a second, what? Oh. I did some weird shit here. Well, I suck at building things, that doesn't mean anything. That should be good. Let's see. Whoa, I just made a horse. Oops. What the shit is this? Oh, did I just put debug mode on or whatever? That's supposed to be apostrophe? Okay, there we go. Are you on like PlayStation or something? Or Xbox or something? Because I'm playing on PC lately. I don't know if I can get rid of the door. I think that's just gonna overwrite it. That's better. have to reset this afterwards because those doors, I don't have to like work on some deleting actor stuff. Or maybe I can just make the deleting actor stuff so I can delete the other door eventually. Whatever. Ah. Oh yes. Oh yes. Oh yes. Yeah. I haven't tried the extensions. Forgot about that stuff. Oh, the snapping point's all wrong on this. Oh yeah. One can get to Mordor by walking. Wait, even better. Well, no, wait. If I can freaking spell while holding down shift. Have I forgotten my original beam pole, whatever? What's it called? A handrail? Wooden pillar 3. Should adjust the handrail snap point so it snaps to itself better. What do you think? If you're still there. Yeah, I have to fix the snap point on that one. Oh, shit. Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, I'll have to make a better delete actor thing. There we go. Yeah, it doesn't really snap. which is pretty good. What other cool shit can I put out here? Some boxes and stuff. Yeah, make it nice. We should do a chimney going up throughout here. Oh, that does make sense. This house design doesn't make any sense except to me. Whoa. Yay, math, numbers, it all basically lines up. Is there any interior benches or props? Like a small bench. There's tables. Do a table. I don't think I have a chair though. Oh, it opens inwards. Duh. That's not terrible. I gotta work on the LODing of some of these textures, the popping. And the first person camera's not happy around tight quarters, but seems more like it's when it's something's behind me that it's not happy. Or when I'm like not even close to something in front of me. Yeah, it's more like when something's behind me, it's triggering. I will look into that. I keep wanting to hit Control Z, but then I remember like I'm playing a game. I'm not in the editor. I really gotta work on the snap point of those. But I'm having too much fun. Yeah, they don't snap together. That's so much. Everything else snaps together very well. This little thing, I wasn't paying attention when I made that. That's fine, that's just from the single to the corner. But if I'm gonna make another corner right there. That's right, it's kind of weird like that. I can just cheat like that. Close enough. I don't know what I'm putting over here. Maybe stairway. In which case I just get rid of the handrails. That's kind of silly with the handrails and everything. Wait, how am I supposed to get up? Ah, I'm so moron. It's kind of funny though. Double stairs, why not? No, that doesn't work. I have to start making the smaller, or it's gonna end up looking like a freaking like Hayao Miyazaki. It probably already does. Check out my patio. It's not very convenient with the snapping. Oh, nice. Wow, that lined up. I want to like it. Oops. Thank you, thank you. Yes, German engineering indeed. What do you think I could use to fill this in? Farm fence, like some wooden stones and stuff. Let's at least put some farm fence leading up. Small wall or floor. Wait, why is it rotating it that way? Wait a second, it's not even what I wanted to build. I like that. I already moved back from it. It's not really doing what I had in mind, but I think there's something here. Oops. Oops. Oh no, I can't delete that. It's weird.
But the rock and roll didn't go over strong in Jamaica. So about that time, we realized we had to do something about that. Not for publication, it was like dub play.
Alright. Well, there's my player building system so far. I'm the only player who can open this door, so it's locked. It's private. Oh, that's awesomeness. I'm happy. I gotta stop working. I've been at this thing since like hours ago. Thanks for chilling, WR. I'll just leave this chilling here for a while, I think. Turn the mic off for it. I need to eat. I'm just gonna leave this chilling because it looks cool as hell. Alright, man. I'll be around. Alright, you guys, I gotta use the computer for some stuff. But thanks for checking it out. I'm mighty proud. Is the sun gonna eclipse? Maybe I should stay for a couple of days here and see what it looks like. If we get any full eclipse action. Oh, microphone is off again. Yeah, so apparently it was doing the eclipse thing, but you couldn't really tell unless you like dip behind the object, and at least I wasn't seeing the sun disk thing, which you get on medium graphics settings and stuff. Anyway, thanks for chilling. I'll be back at it tomorrow probably. Getting closer every day. Maybe soon I'll start programming combat. Alright, take care. Oh yeah, don't forget about this. That's scary, man. It really just looks just like, I don't know. I see it. If I can make this blonde. That's what they were talking about. Alright, take care.